Well, well, well. So when I started this channel covering the Dallas Cowboys in 2024, I made a prognostication in 2025. And actually when I first started the channel, but I made a prognostication in particular in 2025 that after the Dallas Cowboys hired Brian Schottenheimer, that the Dallas Cowboys were going to the Super Bowl in 2026. And after the firing of one Matt Eberflus, I added to that no later than 2027. And the way that this team has been moving since they hired Brian Schottenheimer, and just looking at what they continue to do, I'm doubling down on the prognostication that the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl in 2026, no later than 2027. Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. I am sticking to my prognostication. I will go down as a prophet before it is all said and done. I said when they hired Brian Schottenheimer, I had no proof of what I was saying, other than the way they were moving, it was going to equal to a Super Bowl. And I am telling us, the way this team is moving, this is how championship teams move. This is how they move. I am telling us the most powerful thing I've heard this season. And some people think this is small, but for me, it is the most powerful thing that was said when Christian Parker himself said that Jerry Jones has a vision for this team. It's amazing to me. Nobody looks at those comments. They don't like those statements. When Brian Schottenheimer says he's a big fan of Jerry Jones, Christian Parker says Jerry Jones has a vision. I find it to be strange that people don't talk about that. Those are the most amazing statements that are being made. They are telling us that this team is in sync from top to bottom. And that's how you win Super Bowls. Man, I got a great show for y'all today. I have an absolutely incredible show, I guarantee y'all today. So, man, we got a lot. I'm gonna try to get to everything today, but man, I'm telling you, I am loaded down with Cowboys content today. We're gonna listen to the Brian Schottenheimer press conference. We're gonna listen to Dak Prescott press conference. Then I found something today talking about Dak Prescott. Is he underrated? I had something the other day, I forgot to show it to you. Torrey Holt talking about George Pickens. And it is incredible when you listen to Torrey Holt talk about George Pickens. Then, see, I told y'all this, and y'all are not listening to me. And I know why y'all not listening to me, because y'all listen to other people do a lot of talk to. I know what's going on. Y'all listen to a lot of people do a lot of talking. But I told y'all this weeks ago that if you were looking at what's going on with George Pickens from the outside in, and you were looking at this and this was happening on another team, a lot of people probably wouldn't be thinking about this thing with George Pickens the way that they are. Oh, I got a dynamite story for you. Jalen Carter versus George Pickens. Wait until I show you that. Then, got a little bit of news. Cowboys got some signings. Now, they're not major. They're not major. They just kind of filling out the Cowboys roster as they get ready to go to Oxnard, California. They had some signings, had some movings, but nevertheless, the Cowboys are still doing their thing. And then, yeah, man, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned to Let's Talk Cowboys. Who's been telling you about the Brandon Sorsby stuff? I was on this Brandon Sorsby stuff long before anybody else was. And here we go. The Brandon Sorsby stuff is he's entering the supplemental draft. And all of a sudden, everybody's talking about Brandon Sorsby, and I'm hearing the Cowboys name keep getting mentioned in this conversation, and I hope it's not true. There's a and then got a great little segment. We're gonna talk about James Houston. I don't know if y'all saw this on X, but I think it's very powerful. James Houston and this whole thing about him switching positions. And then player interviews. We're gonna try to round this out with player interviews. I told y'all. We got a ton of stuff to talk about today on Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Let's go. Let's get it. Hey. What's going on, damn doobie? I'm glad you caught me live. I'm glad to see you. What up, damn doobie? Football fanatic. He said, boy, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid now. Football fanatic. I'm just telling you, they've been moving different, and they're not done. Dominique said, I like what I'm seeing as far as the mindset of this coaching staff. That's where it begins. Success and failure begins in the mind. And once the mind believes it, the body does it. Yep, let's go. What up, Jacob Jackson? What's going on, Dak Stress Scott? Dak Stress Scott said, welcome to Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Come in, hit the like button, let your opinion be heard. And also, please keep the chat clean. What is going on? Gabe Robinson, what is going on? Good to see you. Lynn from the 903. What up, Lynn? Lord Nova, what's going on? Real Estate Vet, he said, best chat on YouTube. What's going on? Jeremy Betts. Frank Lawrence, my man, what's going on? Hail Mary. What up, Marvin Mays? 72 Chevelle, I'm not sure. You shouldn't be getting the phone screen on a laptop or computer. Gregory Davis, what is going on? Good to see you. Randolph, what is going on? He said he give it to year 2027. Hey, they're gonna be in contention this year. You watch what I tell you. Queen, what is going up? What's going on? She said, I'm so feeling Pickens' maturity. Me too. I am too. And Queen, let me tell you something. Not only are we feeling Pickens' maturity, the entire NFL. And I'm gonna tell you something, Queen. I don't know about you. I'm rebuking every single story. I'm rebuking every single story about people trying to make excuses for George Pickens doing the right thing. I don't care what anyone says. I'm rebuking every single story. It's amazing to me how people, they want to build. I keep telling y'all, don't let people build you up. You let them build you up, they can tear you down. I'm rebuking every single story about George Pickens and his conceding to the Dallas Cowboys. George Pickens is doing him. Like he said, let everybody else prove to them what they want to prove to themselves with their own narratives, prove themselves right. But in the grand scheme of things, if George Pickens has changed, he's changed. Bottom line, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Jeremy Betts, what is going on? Good to see you. Yeah, they keep making up a different argument moving. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. What's up, Randy? Good to see you. B Mix, what is going on? JCT Slice in the building. Baba Tunde, what is going on? Hallelujah, what is going on? Hey, hallelujah. It might not be 6, but it's looking more like 4. It's definitely looking more like 4. Y'all buckle in. We talking Cowboys today. Gregory Davis, what is going on? He said the last time the Cowboys won multiple Super Bowls was during Johnson and Landry eras. I tell you what, Shotty is starting to look. He ain't looking all the way. Y'all remember last year I had the Jimmy Johnson barometer. I'm pulling that Jimmy Johnson barometer out again. Man, hey, Brian, hey, Schottenheimer is moving up that barometer. What's going on, Brian Worley? Ty Howard. We want easy. Easy in the building. What is going on? Lance said he watched the press conference on Dak and Shotty and Calvin Watkins is tripping. Wouldn't let anyone get questions in, especially in the Dak press conference. Yeah, they trying to get them headlines. What's going on, Marco? Damn Doobie, what is up? Carl Williams, Richard Owens, what is going on? Good to see you. Marco, what up, Marco? What is going on? 555 Kalex, what's up? Terry Tatum, what's going on? Let's keep the chat clean, Dominic Pittman said. Lord Nova, what is going on, Lord Nova? Mervin, what's going on, Mervin Antoine? What is this show about from St. Lucia? It's all about the Cowboys. We'll be putting our agenda back up in a moment. Frank Lawrence, appreciate that super chat. Pickens finally made his statement and feel energized. Yes. Anthony Gatson, Big Park, what's going on? Hey man, this dude Acho is tripping, ain't he, Big Park? Azteca, what's going on? Mr. Get Dirty, what's going on? Ray Dozen, Nathan Martin, Ursa Major, Christopher, what's going on? It is time to get this show started today. Man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. What's going on, SM Anderson? Let's get this show started today. All right. So today we're going to get this thing kicked off proper like. We're going to get this thing kicked off with the Brian Schottenheimer press conference. Have not listened to all of it. I was able to listen to some of it. But Brian Schottenheimer, man, he's got this team laser focused. That is my takeaway after listening to Christopher Parker, Dak Prescott, the players. We're gonna listen to Clayton Adams tomorrow. Tomorrow be Friday. We'll listen to Clayton Adams, Brian Schottenheimer. This team is laser focused in ways that we have not seen in years. It is laser focused. And it is laser focused. And the part that I want us to really key in on, the part I really want us to key in on, it's not just Brian Schottenheimer. It's not just Christian Parker. It's not just Dak Prescott. It is the entire organization. They are laser focused. And I want to make sure we give Jerry Jones. I want to make sure we give Jerry Jones credit on this. Jerry Jones is doing GM things. Jerry Jones got him a coach, trusting the coach, listening to his coach, trusting the front office, listening to the personnel guys, trusting his coaches. Jerry Jones is actually doing what a GM is supposed to do. I don't know what took so long. All I can tell you is better late than never. And I want to go back to the statement yesterday. I want to go back to the statement that no one is talking about once again. I want to go back. People may not realize it. But again, this is one of the statements of the offseason. It was the last answer that Christian Parker gave in his press conference. We're going to listen to that, and then we'll listen to the Brian Schottenheimer press conference. But no one's talking about this. Listen to Christian Parker, his last statement in his press conference yesterday. Listen to this.
You know, they're going to make me right more than I'm going to make them right, and I'm very comfortable with that fact.
Quick one from Todd. There's a lot of preconceived notions when it comes to this team and organization. Did you have any coming in here, and what have you learned about being with this organization the last 4 or 5 months?
So let's stop for a second. We already know what this is, Cowboys Nation. When he says preconceived notions, we already know what he's asking without asking. What have you heard about Jerry Jones? What have you heard about Jerry? Are the things you heard about Jerry Jones true? Is Jerry Jones in the way? Is this team all about drama? Is this team Hollywood? Is this team? You already know. We've heard everything. Some of us walk around saying some of these same things. They're asking him basically, hey, did everything you hear about the Cowboys is true? Do you think they're talking about positive things? Do you think they're talking about good things? No. They're talking about bad things. Now, Christian Parker's statement right here. And what's going on? I don't know. I can't read the name. I don't like a name like this. So we're going to make sure we're going to keep this clean. The person who just made this statement, who said it will never last. We're not going for that. But listen to the statement by Christian Parker.
Well, I mean, I've been a rival the last 2 years, so, you know, you kind of make stuff up in your own head to get yourself ready for a game, whether it's true or not. So,
what did I tell y'all? Perception is not always reality. See, he said I make stuff up in my head, and this is what people do. They psych themselves out or psych them or get themselves built up on sometimes false statements, narratives that are not true, so that they can really go at their opponent or go at someone in a certain way. So you think about, this is exactly how people even approach the Cowboys. They approach the Cowboys with preconceived notions, and everybody wants everybody to believe that Jerry Jones is a terrible human being. And Christian Parker burst and I know why nobody's talking about this, because they don't like this kind of language that Christian Parker is about to use.
no, I mean, it's first class. It's what you think. What Jerry has built here is special. His vision for what this franchise needs to be, he has alignment. It's a crystal clear vision for all parties involved.
Wait a minute. What did you say, Christian Parker? Did you say Jerry Jones has a crystal clear vision of what he wants this team to be? Could that vision actually be different than what this team has been? This is what I tell you about people all the time. When people begin to change, rather than tearing down people who change, you should exhort people who change. You should do exactly what Christian Parker is doing. You should do exactly what Brian Schottenheimer is doing. And some people don't like what I do. But when I see somebody moving different, who's been moving terrible, and I'm saying terrible, not terrible, they've been moving terrible for 30 years, and they start moving good in the last 2 seasons, you better believe I'm going to exhort and I am going to encourage that individual, and I'm going to continue to talk well about everything they're doing. That's what I'm going to do. And Christian Parker is doing exactly what you're supposed to do. When you see something that looks good, you say it looked good. You don't have to be talking about what it used to be. No, let me tell you what I saw. Regardless of what I psych myself up in my head to believe, let me tell you what I see. Let me tell you what I'm seeing. This is what's wrong with so many in this fan base. They're struggling so hard. They want the Cowboys to fall so bad. Y'all better stop listening to these people who tell you they want the Cowboys to be better. I'm not buying it. How can you want somebody to be better and all you do is bash them? All you do is bash them. You bash them and say, yeah, but I'm their biggest fan. Yes, sounds just like Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless proclaims to be the biggest Dallas Cowboy fan in the history of the Dallas Cowboys existence. And he'll always tell you all these great stories of where he was when this happened and where he was when that happened. And I'm the biggest Dallas Cowboys fan, while tearing down everything about the team. I'm just dumbfounded by people who do this. Christian Parker, this was the most powerful, or one of the most powerful statements we've heard this entire offseason. This man said Jerry Jones has a crystal clear vision of what he wants this team to be. Has anybody caught it? Yeah. And I'm following it because I'm a part of it. Do we realize that Christian Parker is a part of the Jerry Jones vision? He's a part of the vision. That's why he hired him under the recommendation of the head coach that he is trusting to get this team to a Super Bowl. Man, y'all better hear what I'm telling you. Y'all better hear what I'm telling you. I don't listen to people who say one thing and do another one. Christian Parker just said Jerry Jones has a crystal clear vision. So watch what people will do. He lying. Christian Parker, he's a liar. He's just going along because he knows if he says something different, he'll get fired. He's just doing what he's got to do to keep his job and hope that he can go somewhere else in the next couple of years. He just want to use this as a stepping stone. It's amazing to me. When people start telling the truth, we still don't believe them.
And that's something that I appreciate more than anything else.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dead silence. Did y'all hear what this man, Christian Parker, said? He appreciates that Jerry Jones is laser focused. He appreciates it. Boy, you want to talk about quieting the haters. Quieting the haters. Y'all might not realize this, but I told y'all when Brian Schottenheimer made the statement he made. Y'all might not realize what they're saying. We're not tolerating y'all talking about anybody in our building, including our owner. Man, y'all better hear what I'm telling you. These guys are saying we ain't putting up with this nonsense. We're not going to have people running around talking about our owner. We're not going to allow anybody to walk around talking about anybody on this team. As I told y'all a few weeks ago, the team is not just the coaches and the players. The team is the coaches, the players, the front office, the owner, the GM, the ball boy, the ball girl, the concession stand. It's everybody in the organization. It's everybody. Everybody, when you talk about winning championships, everybody got to be on the same page. I don't care if there's roaches in the building. The roaches in the building better be on the same page. That's how you win championships. That's how you win championships. I can't, unfortunately, this person right here, I'm not actually going to be able to address anything you're saying because you have an absolutely terrible name. And we're not going to put that up on, I mean, you could really be in the conversation. But I got a serious problem with the title that you call yourself. That's a terrible title. Have you ever thought about changing that? Now, you can do whatever you want to do, but you can't get involved in a chat here with a name like that. That name is disgusting. That name is disgusting. You shouldn't even have a name like that on social media. That is disgusting. You can be a part of a sensible conversation, but you're not going to be a part of a sensible conversation with a name like that. That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Let's get into this Brian Schottenheimer press conference. This team is absolutely on the same page. They are absolutely on the same page. And it is one for all and all for one. This is how you win championships. I said this before, man. This is how you win championships. Everybody has got to be on the same page. Everybody. And the goal has to be to win. The goal has to be to win. Let's switch over to this Brian Schottenheimer press conference. Brian Schottenheimer, man, you can tell. Brian Schottenheimer in this press conference is laser focused. You can tell he's laser focused.
The team meeting. Ryan Flournoy is the 2026 sharpshooting champion of the Dallas Cowboys. He heard from some of the greats. Michael Jordan had a message for him. Will Greer had a message
What's up,
from somewhere on a beach with his shirt off, all tatted up. Sam Williams had his trophy from last year, cowboy hat on. His message was pretty amazing, so it was very emotional. But no, in all honesty, I really didn't think Rick would make it, but we've had a great offseason. Just fired up by what we were able to do, from the staff additions to the free agency to the draft. And I wanted to get the meetings in because we need to get install 9 in, but us missing the mock's not that big of a deal. So, and the emotion that I'm sure you guys will see at some point was from the guys was they're ready to get out of here. So that's okay.
Now, let me tell you something else I saw today when I first heard this thing. I want y'all to follow that there is more than one way to skin a cat. What's going on, Freddie El Truco in the building? Country Field, what up, Country Field? What is going on? Good to see y'all today. Yeah, lean down to the roaches in the building. They got to be on the same page. Let me show you how there's more than one way to skin a cat. I also like the fact that they canceled this last one, right? Well, the thing that I find to be so amazing about this is that when you cancel this quote unquote last mandatory practice, but notice that they didn't cancel the install. They didn't cancel the walkthrough. They didn't cancel that. So I like that part. And this is how you actually get George Pickens on the field in the walkthrough. You can get George Pickens on the field in the walkthrough. Rather than doing a full-fledged, all-out practice and all. No, you can get him in on the walkthrough. I thought this was very interesting when he talked about this install, because Dak Prescott is going to talk about the fact that, yeah, they canceled the practice, but what they didn't cancel was the walkthrough. The walkthrough. And so that right there is very significant.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. In comparison to your first year to where we are now, would you say you got everything accomplished that you wanted to set out before you got to camp?
Yeah, I think so. I feel, like I said, I feel really good about it. You know, phase 1 is what we call, scheme development. You know, we're putting in a new defense. It's them hearing the language, and some of the language gets tweaked and changed the more we get into it, and the players have some involvement in that. And obviously we're evolving on offense, but, getting a chance to go through the scheme, the cut-ups. Phase 2, when you get on the field, is more skill development. So you're hitting the fundamentals and things like that. One of the things I thought that we did a really good job of, the coaches did, is that we had a action plan for all the players, rookies, veterans, where each coach, sat down, came up with a list of 3 things that they felt like the whatever said player could improve on. And not only the 3 areas that they wanted to improve on, but how they were going to do that, whether it's change of direction, cone drills, footwork, different things like that, but how. And then they came in and they met with the players, and the players, had some of their thoughts, and so they kind of did it collectively. But I felt really, really good about that. OTAs are hard. You see some of our colleagues and my peers, canceling the mini camps and stuff like that. It's just hard to practice. It's just hard to practice, with some of the rules that we're restricted under. I think we got a lot of really good things done. I've done more 7-on-7 this offseason than I ever want to do again in my life, but it's kind of what we need to do. But the biggest thing that I'm excited about is the way the brotherhood and the culture is coming together, From dividing the team up into platoons and mixing and matching guys and watching guys lead and things like that, it's been seeing the different team names come together, and then the guys having words that they want to be associated with, I think was really, really good. And I think it's going to carry over into the break. Talk to the guys about that. Going into the break, it's really about, getting away. They need to get away, but what's the plan? What's the routine? And it's not just the routine of physically getting ready to play, which they have to be ready to play. It's more about, also along with that is, mentally, especially some of the young guys and the guys on defense where it's all new to them. So I could not be more happy about how the offseason went.
Did you have an action plan for yourself?
Always have an action plan for myself. I'd say over the past 2 weeks, just working through training camp and things like that, there's a few things that are different Calvin, the two joint practices, that's kind of where the league's saying when you don't play your starters in the preseason, which we really don't, is that what's really beneficial in getting them ready to play in the regular season games and get off to a good start is having, more than one joint. And so I'm really excited about, getting a chance to compete against, the Rams and also the Saints. So,
Miss Matrix, what is
this
going
year
on?
We have a leadership council. Didn't have that last year. So I'm always trying to evaluate myself, and, I'll do a lot of reflecting over some shotties over the break.
Clarence Hill deal.
All right, hold on. I'm going to do some research on this of how do you get out of the format. Yeah, it's in the long format. Are you on a computer? I wonder if there's a way you can select rather than a mobile view. Maybe your browser is set up for a mobile view rather than a desktop view. I don't know. I think you can check that with the three dots on your browser. That may be the issue. But again, the thing that I like about what Brian Schottenheimer is talking about, I want you to think about what happened with Brian Schottenheimer last year. Brian Schottenheimer came in last year, and we may not realize this, but Brian Schottenheimer took over a very chaotic situation. Brian Schottenheimer took over a very chaotic situation. Brian Schottenheimer took over a situation, even though he had already been in. He took over a situation where Mike McCarthy was on a lame duck contract. A lot of the coaches were on a lame duck contract. There was a lot of seemed like bad blood players and things of that nature. So okay, hey, I'm appreciated, Mr. Matrix. I'm glad you're still in the conversation. So you think about what Brian had to go through. It was a very chaotic situation. Even the stuff that was going on with Trayvon Diggs, Michael Parsons, I mean, he really took over in a very chaotic situation. A very chaotic situation. And, now that I kind of look back on it, looking back on a 7-9-1 situation, also, he's coming in, brand new head coach, got Matt Eberflus in here with his doggone nonsense. I mean, he took over a very chaotic situation. Then you add to that what happened to Marshawn Nealon. Brian Schottenheimer, I got to give him credit now. Hindsight is 2020. He really weathered the storm. He really weathered the storm. He really weathered the storm. And now he's come out of the other side of the storm, and I think he's going to be a lot better for it, a lot stronger for it, because this is really the year that this is no longer the team that used to be Mike McCarthy's team. This is now Brian Schottenheimer's team, if that makes sense. This is now Brian Schottenheimer's team. It's his coach. It's his culture. It took him a year to really start implementing, really get that culture implemented. Had to, kind of do away with some things. And now that you got him in, it's actually his defense coordinator. It's his team, his suggestions, his draft. I mean, now we are getting a full dose of Brian Schottenheimer. And I think what he did today is a testament. It's a testament to what he's accomplished and who he is. To be comfortable enough to say, okay, we're going to cancel the actual, quote unquote, whatever it is that we're doing. We're going to cancel that. But we're still going to do the walkthrough because that's going to benefit all of us, including George Pickens. He was really facing a lot of adversity in that first year. Jerry Jones had to get as much as Jerry Jones liked Brian Schottenheimer, he had to continue to build up more trust. And I'm going to tell y'all what I believe was the turning point. And I've mentioned this before. I'm going to tell you what I believe was the turning point of Brian Schottenheimer really taking control of this team. The turning point is when Matt Eberflus was tanking this defense. There is no doubt in my mind that Matt Eberflus was walking around like he didn't stink after he left out of the bathroom. He was walking around like it had been promised to him that you can do whatever you want to do this year, and next year we're going to get you the players. We don't care what your I mean, he was just literally walking around like he could do whatever he wanted to do. And Brian Schottenheimer, I believe, shocked this entire organization. And he went into the defensive room. He went inside of the defensive room and told Matt Eberflus, nah, bruh, you ain't throwing away this defense in this season on my watch. That was the turning point. That was the turning point. He outsmarted Matt Eberflus and created a standard on this team. I just want us to think back to what happened at that point in time. We may not realize it, but that was a turning point that Brian Schottenheimer said, no, we will not throw away this defense and throw away this season. You're going to get your butt in here and try. You're going to do some different things. And I'm going to fight you tooth and nail. I'm going to let this team know that this type of stuff isn't going to fly around here anymore. Brian Schottenheimer basically said in a subliminal way, I don't give a doggone who hired you. You're not going to throw this season away. That was the turning point. That was the turning point of this team. That was the day, if anybody was if really thinking, that was the day that everybody said, this dude is serious. This dude is serious. This dude went at Matt Eberflus every which way he could in a respectful way. Hail Mary said, I believe Shotty would bring in structure, something the Cowboys have been missing for years. Yes, the main difference is the players want to play for him, although Eberflus weakened that mindset last year. Now, Hail Mary, follow this, though. I guarantee you that when Shotty went in that defensive room, I guarantee you people around that organization start saying, well, hey, man, hold on a sec. This dude is serious about his. You a first-year coach, and you go in that defensive room and say, we ain't having this mess? That was a turning point. And I'm going to tell you, I keep telling y'all, I believe he's a shrewd operator, and people don't give him enough credit. I believe he's a shrewd operator. They were talking about, yeah, man, we gonna get Matt, before we let go of Matt Eberflus, he gonna get an exit interview. We woke up the next day and Matt Eberflus was gone. We woke up the next day. What happened to the exit interview? Oh, he gone. He's gone. People don't give Brian Schottenheimer enough credit. I believe he's a shrewd operator. I do. I believe he's a shrewd operator. I believe he told Jerry, no, let's get this dude gone. Told him, get him gone. And I believe those types of things really helped out this team. That was the turning point for me. Now that I look back and I'm like, man, Brian Schottenheimer put his foot down. He made this into his team.
You brought up Ryan Florida earlier. He talked about he was one of the platoon captains. Just talk about his growth and what you see for him and put him in that position. What do you like about Ryan and just the confidence that he's taking on?
Yeah, Clarence, there's really not much I don't like about Flo. I would say the word you used, you kind of answered your own question. The confidence is different than it was. Not even, obviously when he was a rook, but like even last year early on, I think he was not in awe of CD and George, but like, you saw him, okay, I know I fit in, but then having the success that he had against the Jets and then having the success he had against the Lions, and you just saw him really take that step, I'd say about middle of the season last year, and he came back, man, with just a really strong intent for what he wanted to get done. He looks great. He's moving great. His routes, I think, have gotten better. I mean, here's a guy from a small school that's come in and really adapted to the way we teach route breaks and releases and speed turns and power cuts and things like that. And I really think the sky's the limit for him. And he's definitely a guy that we see finding ways to get him the ball.
Now, let me say this about Ryan Flanoy. Got to give Chris Carter a lot of credit for Ryan Flanoy. Ryan Flanoy is working with a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Let me tell you something. I don't like a lot of Chris Carter sports takes. Now, it don't mean that some of them aren't good, but some of them are outlandish. But one thing I can tell you about Chris Carter, the man knows how to play the game. He knows how to play wide receiver. And Chris Carter was a problem on the football field. And if there is a wide receiver that you would ever want to learn from, Ryan Flanoy has been working with Chris Carter. So he's come in and of course, working with Dak Prescott. If you don't think that Dak Prescott gives you a lot of, you've been catching with Dak Prescott, hanging with Dak Prescott, talking to Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott himself, man, people don't give Dak enough credit. Man, Dak has turned some of these wide receivers into stars and gotten them some big time money. So Ryan Flanoy should be fully confident because he earned that spot last year through hard work. When Dak called his number, he answered. And from everything we've been hearing about at camp, they got big plans for Ryan Flanoy. I mean, you just heard what Brian Schottenheimer said. What up, Mac Man? There will be blood. He said, I keep saying this team will be a quiet storm going through the season. Watch what I say, Prophet. Yeah, because they're focused on football. And I said this early on. I want the Cowboys to have a quiet, boring offseason. And that's exactly what it's been. The media has been noisy around them. But this team has been boring and quiet, including George Pickens. Boring and quiet. And kudos to George Pickens for controlling a narrative that could have easily got out of hand. And rather than him relying on the court of public opinion, he's trusting his coaches. He's trusting his teammates, as in Dak and CD in particular, but he's also trusting the process.
This offseason, do you think it's been quieter compared to past off seasons without the holdouts and different things like that? Certainly, Pickens has said he's going to be here.
It's amazing. I hadn't even heard this part and I said this. Okay, let's go.
It's more about football than the off the stuff. And
well, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a bad thing. But no, I think, at the end of the day, we're in a good spot. I think we're very comfortable with, like I said, the changes that we've made, and then getting the changes up to the where they need to be, the standard where they need to be right now. I think my conversations, and then hearing, of course, what George said to you guys. Not surprised. I told you guys he loves football. I told you guys he wants to win, and it was great to have his energy out there these past couple days. So, is it quieter? I'm not going to say that because you never know what's coming around the corner, man. I mean, shoot, I could be sitting on a beach somewhere, and next thing you know, the phone starts ringing, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see Clarence and have him ask me about this. But, we'll take it right now.
Yeah.
Brian Todder with ESPN.
Yeah. See, I hadn't even heard that part of the conversation. I listened to all of Dak. I didn't get a chance to listen to all of this, but this is what it's been. It's been quiet and boring. It's been quiet and boring, and I absolutely love it. What's going on, Marcus Moncherio? What is going on? Yes, sir. GP played this to the T. He did what he's supposed to do. Hail Mary says Shotty is definitely putting his blueprint on this team. Not only the CP hire, but all those young brothers on the defensive staff. Yep. Gold Eye, what's good? Yep. I agree with you.
And every team in the league has hope right now, and if they don't, something's seriously wrong. How do you carry the hope from now to training camp and then ultimately into the season?
Well, I think you try not to get too far ahead of yourself. I mean,
What's going on,
we're
Devon Smith?
hopeful because we're confident. And we feel like we're preparing the right way. We feel like we've made the changes that we needed to make to fix the defensive side of the ball. There has not been a lot of changes on the offensive side of the ball, other than the schemes that we're going to adjust and change. And but I think the real preparation starts when we get out to Oxnard. I think that's what I always look forward to. That like this first week or two of vacation is great. I'll celebrate my anniversary with my lovely bride on the 29th. It seems like everybody's anniversaries in this business is about the same time, and because we only have certain windows to celebrate those. But as I get past the 4th of July, man, I'll be honest, like my mind gets back to football and the excitement of getting to camp and the excitement of watching these guys compete and getting a chance to play real football. Like, again, you do what you're tasked to do, and you're going to have an off-season program, you're going to have OTAs, but we're not playing real football, and I can't wait to play real football or as close to real football when we get to training camp. And I would say the shit talking from Christian Parker is a little different than what we had last year, and so the guys feed off of it in a good way. And it's you guys are beginning to figure out his personality and in a good way. But it's been fun to watch him stir up CD and George and Dak and those guys, and I think we're in a really good spot.
I'm excited to see this matchup. Now, we've been kind of hearing Dak Prescott, give, Christian Parker a lot of credit. You listen to Brian Schottenheimer, give him a lot of credit. You know what? As much as we like Christian Parker, let's not forget who Rain Dakota Prescott is. Rain Dakota Prescott ripped up Christian Parker's defense with the Eagles not once, but twice. That's not a knock on Christian Parker. I'm just telling you how good Dak Prescott really is. Dak Prescott, man, let me tell you something. Boy, we were a couple of drops away from sweeping the league, man. Y'all call them the Sheagles. Y'all said I don't. Boy, we were some drops away from sweeping them boys. Man, Dak Prescott was throwing passes in places that people were going. There's no way that Dak Prescott threw that pass right there. Yeah, he did. I appreciate you too, Eric, folks. Yeah, hey, man. I'm telling you, what's going on, Mando, Arizona? What's going on? Yep, Unity. Man, hey, you just wait. I'm ready to see this thing in Oxnard, California, too. I want to see Dak going up against him when we're playing football, as Shotty keeps saying.
A lot of focus has been on Caleb as your first-round pick. It almost seems like Malachi Lawrence has kind of been in the shadow a little bit. What have you seen from him? And I know it's hard to evaluate without pads and things like that.
Yeah. I go back to number one, what I see from him from the power when they're hitting sleds, what I see from him, the size and the length that he plays with when you're doing just, one-on-one pass rush drills against, dummies and things like that, the power that he can create with arm overs and swats and things. I've been most pleasantly surprised probably by the instincts when he drops in coverage. Like, they didn't drop him much at UCF. For the right reasons. But I like the way he's tackled this offseason. I think he's another guy that the talent is real. I don't remember him making a lot of mistakes, and that's a good thing.
John Machota with The Athletic. What's your message to a guy like Caleb Downs in this next 5.5 weeks? What do you want him to do? Yeah,
I don't really worry about Caleb. I really, most of the rooks, I don't worry about them because they're the right type of young men. One, they want to be great. Two, they understand that they're going and competing to make one of the better rosters in the National Football League, in my opinion. But have a plan and talk to guys that have been there. Like, they can ask my opinion about the routine, but I don't know it as well as Dak Prescott does, CeeDee Lamb, Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Donovan Ezraku after year one. I think he's got to lean on those guys. But the one thing about Caleb and, like I said, most of the guys, they're very mature and they want to work. And they're going to go home or wherever they're going, and they're going to find time to study. They're going to find time to work. They're going to find time to get together and work on the brotherhood. But just give them guidance, and of course we'll be checking in on them from time to time, just because we're going to miss them after a while.
How do you get the message across to the guys when you talk about you being on the beach or whatever, and you get that phone call to get the message across that you don't want to get one of those calls, and that in these next 5.5 weeks between now and the start of training camp to maybe be a little careful?
Yeah, no, we have 2 rules. I think if you have too many rules, it's hard to enforce them all. So the first one's be on time. Second one is always protect the team, and I think that's an easy way of saying make good decisions, be smart, think before you go out, think before you travel, before you pack your bag and head to the airport. Just know what you're putting in your bag. I think that's all real. We have real conversations like that. We had before Rick Burke had ruined my mock practice today, he did a great job talking about security and gambling and things like that. And, it's just making good decisions. So protect the team. We're going to need everybody to go where we're going this year and to chase the championship that we want to chase and win so badly. We're going to need everybody. So they have to think about their teammates, their brothers, before they think about themselves.
What did I tell y'all? Even the roaches in the building got to be on the same page. Even the roaches. Everybody. People don't understand. To win a championship, it requires a Herculean effort. It really does. It requires a Herculean effort. It takes so much focus. And this is one of the places where Jerry Jones has made mistakes over the years. When I started this channel, in that first year, one of the things that I said that people don't understand the dynamic of the Dallas Cowboys. And it seems like we've finally gotten away from a dynamic that Jerry Jones fostered. This team was not only battling its opponent, it was battling the owner, as in being out in the media, saying a lot of things. It was battling its own media, because the Dallas Cowboys media has been terrible over the years, and some of it, maybe rightfully so, but some of it taking advantage of a situation. But the Dallas Cowboys team would be battling the owner. It would be battling its local media. It would be battling the national media. It would be battling the stigma of all the talk about the Dallas Cowboys team, and teams would be fired up to play the Cowboys before this team even stepped on the field. It would just be battling so many mental issues. But what he's doing now, this is why I told y'all, quiet, boring offseason. It requires a Herculean effort of everybody being focused on the prize. People don't realize oh yes, Dallas Cowboys. Are we used to the distractions? But that in itself becomes a problem. Because when you get used to distractions, you really have to, if you get used to distractions, does that not mean that you're kind of distracted? Being used to distractions don't mean that distractions don't bother you. That's not a true statement. And so the Cowboys have been battling, whether we realize it or not, they've been battling so many mental issues. This is not just applied to the Dallas Cowboys. This goes for everybody. Every team needs that kind of quiet offseason, that focus, that the only thing we're talking about in this building is winning the Super Bowl. You think about those Patriots teams. What did we ever hear from those Patriots teams, hardly but football? I mean, We would literally listen to Bill Belichick sitting at the Bill Belichick would be at the podium. And they would be trying to ask him all of these distracting questions. And Bill Belichick would just be like, for example, if the next team was the Kansas City Chiefs, they would be asking Bill Belichick about crazy questions. And Bill Belichick would just say, we're just focused on playing the Kansas City Chiefs. That's all we're focused on. That's laser focus. That's not a team that says, no, we're used to distractions. No, that's a team that says, no. We don't want distractions coming out of this building. And that's what they're doing. And that's why you got to have these kind of conversations with the team. Hey, man, hey, Cavante Turpin, Marquise Bell. Y'all know Cavante Turpin. No hate on Cavante Turpin, but boy, it don't take much for Cavante Turpin to find a reason to party. Cavante Turpin, Marquise Bell, hey, man, let's keep it together. We don't want to hear nothing. We don't want to hear nothing when we come back. We don't want to hear nothing during this off period. Because this off period will be over before we know it. Cowboys they'll be in Oxnard, California before you know it. So you got to stay focused, man. Got to stay focused. Appreciate you, Dallas boys. Appreciate you being here. Mose Logan. Yeah, what up? Robert Dudley, what's going on? Yeah, Robert Dudley, everything has to be aligned. Everything has to be aligned, man. I mean, I'm talking about when you're talking about winning a championship, I mean, you're talking about down to the battle of attrition of health. You're talking about down to the battle of attrition that other teams may not be healthy. I mean, all the way down to referee calls, man. You got to be laser focused because there'll be so many opportunities to take advantage of things. Douglas Harrison, he said, wait, what up? He said, Shotty, like he got an entire organization focused. Yes, he's got an entire organization focused. What up, T-Mac? What up, T-Mac?
Nick Harris, for
what up, Larry Hunter?
Is there anything different about training camp that you're looking forward to implementing?
I think we'll have more padded practices. I do think that the one thing I learned last year with the way we have our schedule, in the short weeks and stuff that we get tasked with playing and primetime games and things like that, it's a little harder, Nick, to carry the pads later into, the season. I do think.
Hype move, man. If I was Mike Tyson's brother, I'd have some of that Mike Tyson money, man. I'm not Mike Tyson's brother, but I've heard it a lot.
I think, talking with our sports science people, there's a different way to really build some calluses during training camp. And then when the season starts, we're going to have a hard type of week, a medium type of week, and a light type of week. But I think it's important that you go from hard to medium light, but you got to come back up to medium as you're getting ready for the playoffs. So explaining that to the players so they understand it's not a punishment in week 16, week 15 when we put the pads back on. I think that's.
Who does this sound like? Man, I'm literally going to have to get me a Jimmy Johnson barometer. That sounds like Jimmy Johnson. More padded practices. You remember what Michael Irvin said in the Netflix documentary? Jimmy Johnson made practice hell so that when we played in the games, it was nothing but fun. Sounds like Jimmy Johnson. Sounds like some Jimmy Johnson type of stuff.
All stuff that, again, I've learned and am using the people that are experts even more than me in how the body works and how the body recovers that I'm excited about implementing.
Looking ahead into the season, if I ask you your confidence level, I know you're just going to say confident, but you look at the schedule, you also look at a lot of the moves y'all made on the defensive side of the ball. Looks to be some good moves. Where's your confidence level right now?
I mean, very confident. I love our roster. I love the changes that we've made on defense. I love Dak's grasp of what we're doing offensively. I love watching Tyler Booker, going to year 2, and Donovan Azaraku. I love the addition of Kobe Durant, Rashawn Gary. We're seeing the best versions of Kenny Clark and Quentin Williams. Quentin Williams came into this team last year at one of the most painful parts of the season. He lost a brother, and so I think we're getting the best version of him. Christian Parker, what
I
he
saw that
brings,
Jabril
the
Quinn.
evolution of Clayton Adams.
We're gonna bring it up.
Steve Shimko, Ken Dorsey, all these guys. So my confidence is rooted in the people that we have, not just the type of player or coach they are, the talent level, but the way they are as human beings and the way they treat one another, the way they work, the way they understand that we do have one goal, and that one goal is the highest of the high, but that's what we're pursuing. And so with that, I feel very, very confident and believe that we're going to find a way to be in that game and win it.
Boy, y'all gonna call me a prophet before it's over. Are we hearing what this man is saying? We're going to find a way to the Super Bowl. Yeah. Man, let me tell you something. Success begins in the mind. Success begins in the mind. When you truly believe it, and not only do you truly believe it, now let's follow something. Not only must you believe it, but what makes you believe it? Let me help us to understand what faith and hope is. It's the evidence of things not seen. I may not have seen the Super Bowl, but when I'm looking at a coaching staff, if I'm a player, I'm looking at a coaching staff, I'm looking at the plan, I'm looking at the players around me, I'm looking at how the ownership is doing things. That in itself is evidence of things not seen. Even though we have not yet won the championship, I believe what we have in place is good enough to win the championship. I don't think Brian Schottenheimer is doing what you call just kind of like that kind of wishful thinking, that kind of stuff like Mike McCarthy said that I've already made a plan for, what did he say, a 20-game season. I already got a plan for a 20-game season, and we're all looking at Mike McCarthy like, bruh, you don't even have what you need to win a 20-game season, because that's basically the Super Bowl. Yeah, I got it. No one was believing that. But when they look at what they're doing now, when they look at the coaches, when they look at the players, when they look at the plan, I guarantee you a lot of these players are feeling the same way. A lot of these players are feeling the same way that, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. We got the personnel. We got the coaches. We can do this. I believe this entire organization is smelling a Super Bowl. I believe they're smelling it. They're looking at this layout. And if I was looking at this layout, I would be thinking in my mind, there's probably only what? If you think about the NFC as a whole, there's probably only 2 teams that can hold the Dallas Cowboys. If they are clicking on all cylinders offensively and defensively, I can only think of 2 teams, Seattle and the Rams. I don't think there are no other teams in the NFC. The Eagles can't hold the Cowboys. The Giants can't hold them. The Commanders can't hold them. The Green Bay Packers cannot hold the Dallas Cowboys anymore. With what they've lost, they can't hold the Dallas Cowboys. There are only 2 teams realistically that can hold the Dallas Cowboys. And we're going to see what they look like. The Rams and the Seahawks. They're the only 2 teams that can hold them. And I got a strange feeling that if everything goes the way that it probably is going to go, they're not going to see both of those teams. They may only have to see one of them. I don't think there's a team in this NFC that can hold them but the Rams and the Seahawks. And the Rams and the Seahawks got to be looking at the Cowboys saying, can we hold them? Can we hold them with that offensive power with Dak Prescott? Can we hold them? I see 3 teams. I see 3 teams. Yeah, I believe him when he said we're going to find a way in that Super Bowl. Do y'all hear it? We gonna find a way to that Super Bowl. We're going to find a way.
Tommy Arch, DallasCowboys.com. Forgive me if you've been asked this, but Javonte looked like he was out of team stuff. Is that just management for shoulder or something like that? What was that?
Yeah, we did. More than anything, it was just we wanted to give the two young guys, Phil and Jaden, a lot of work because we knew it was the last practice, last full speed practice. But no, Javonte's in a great spot, looks great, and again, it was more about getting the young guys some reps in this last full speed practice.
And then you mentioned Christian talking some trash to.
I am happy to hear this part. I'm not listening to any naysayers. The Dallas Cowboys are doing what they are supposed to be doing. You continue to see if there's any outside talent that you can acquire. But at the same time, you have got to give the guys in the building an opportunity. Give them an opportunity. Miss Matrix said not the 49ers of Green Bay. No. As much as I love Kyle Shanahan, no. Green Bay, no. Jordan Love has not really been consistent. Jordan Love is still riding a 2023 playoff game where he beat the Dallas Cowboys. Well, the Green Bay Packers beat the Dallas Cowboys. Jordan Love hasn't been consistent since he got the contract. If he's not hurt, it's something else. I'm not worried about the Green Bay Packers at all. Even with Michael Parsons over there, no, not worried. Not worried in the least. Not worried about the 49ers. I think they got some. I think the 49ers got some rebuilding to do. They got some rebuilding to do. Absolutely, they got some rebuilding to do. Lotus, Low2G98, he said, I believe Philly's going to get a 50 burger put on them this season. Christian Parker is going to have this defense dismantle them on offense, speaking it into existence. Yeah, I think that Christian Parker is going to be a problem. I think Christian Parker is going to be a problem for the Eagles. Absolutely.
Dak and those guys, does any of that ever get directed to you? And if it does, do you talk back?
I mean, I will, but no, I let them do that. I try to stay in the moment, and then I try to be head coach. I mean, like when we get out of training camp, there'll be periods that we do that I don't call, and I want to be the head coach. And if it's a competitive period, I'll let Clayton call it. I'll let Dak call some things, and mix it around a little bit. But because I want to be the head coach, and I've said it, I think, a couple times this spring. I believe defenses win championships. I do believe that. And so if the defense is giving us headaches, it's fine by me.
Okay.
Now think about what Shotty is saying. We had a top 3 offense last year. Now, this is 7-on-7 stuff, so we ain't really tripping on 7-on-7 stuff. And I think this is why Shotty keeps saying he's ready to play real football. Yeah, I want to see this defense hold this offense when we're playing real football. Because 7-on-7, that's just that's an offensive thing. That's all 7-on-7 is. I want to see what we look like when we get in training camp. I want to see what we look like in Oxnard, California, especially when we start sparring with the Rams. Because I am telling us how we looked against the Rams last year was exactly the way we looked against the entire NFL. I mean, we were laughing last year. We were like, man, how are the Rams just running wide open? And Brian Schottenheimer, he said, oh, man, it's just, we're just scrimmaging. People shouldn't take that to heart. What? It was the same way when the season started. Teams were running wide open on the Cowboys. Running wide open, couldn't stop the run. We stopped it for a little while, but we couldn't stop it consistently. So everything is going to really start coming out when we get to Oxnard, California. That's when everything's going to start coming out. What are we looking like when we start playing, number one, when we get the pads on and we start playing against each other? And then when we start going against the Rams, when we go against the Saints in these scrimmages, I want to see what we look like then. Because I think that's going to tell us everything we need to know about our defense. But we already know what the offense is. Miss Matrix said, it's about the way the Cowboys play them specifically. It's like the boys, yeah, but this is going to be different. I think it's going to be different, Miss Matrix, because we've lost a lot of those players. It's going to be different this time. It's going to be different. And the thing that's going to help us, Miss Matrix, the thing that's going to help us, for as much as we're going to help this defense get better fast, This defense with Christian Parker is going to help this offense figure out some things that they couldn't figure out when they saw some of these teams that run these Vic Fangio types of defenses. So Christian Parker is going to help the Dallas Cowboys solve the Rubik's Cube from that perspective. I really think he's going to help us in that manner. He's going to help us. So the issue is the Cowboys have this year going for them is that iron sharpens iron. Christian Parker seems to be a very good defensive mind. And so he's already, again, it's 7-on-7. I want to see it when it's 11-on-11 and it's a lot more, when you got the pads on. We'll see what it looks like then. But no matter what, we saw the Cowboys do this against opponents last year. So it's not like we're saying with the Cowboys offense, like, well, we don't know what it's going to, no, we know what it's going to look like. It actually should look better. Christian Parker is going to help the Cowboys offense look better. I don't think they'll be afraid of the 49ers. We saw what we did to the Packers. Our offense went banana bonkers on the Green Bay Packers last year. If we'd have just got 2 stops against the Green Bay Packers, we beat them. No fear as it pertains to the Green Bay Packers. No fear. No fear. I don't think there'll be any fear in this team when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. Not worried about the 49ers. The 49ers got a lot of work of their own to do. They got a lot of work of their own to do. Not worried about the 49ers. But the 2 teams that the Cowboys, that I do think is going to be an issue, are going to be the Rams and the Seahawks. I definitely see the Rams and the Seahawks being an issue.
NFL Network. With that being said, this week, Washington, one of their players was talking about they've learned to be a bunch of Denzel Washingtons, really selling things. They're having a disguised defense themselves. How helpful is it for you to see that now day in and day out in practice? And where are you seeing yourselves get stressed and where do you want to work on again?
Yeah.
See, Slater is mentioning the same thing that I'm saying. It helps when you got Christian Parker on the other side. Because even if it's not the players per se, it's just his scheme overall. Christian Parker's scheme overall is going to help the Cowboys offense see more modern day defenses. So some of the things they were struggling with as far as goal line, red zone, some of those things, Christian Parker is going to help the Cowboys solve those things. And at the same time, it's going to help this defense going against a top 3 offense. It's also going to help the players. You think about Caleb Downs. I mean, he don't have to wait until he gets into a game and be baptized into this league. Caleb Downs is getting baptized into this league by CeeDee Lamb, Christian Parker, by CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Ryan Flournoy, Ferg, Trigg. He's going to get baptized in this league real fast. Because, again, we are a top 3 offense. We're not to be played with offensively. We're just not to be played with. So all of this is going to help. Iron sharpens iron. A lot of these teams, when they see the Cowboys, the good thing is they're not going to be looking at the same old Cowboys. They're not going to be looking at the same old Cowboys.
I think there's different ways of disguising defense. I think, what Durante and Washington is going to do is probably going to be different than what we're doing here. Everybody's got a little different flavor to it, but there's no question they make it difficult because they try to make us, have to react on the run. We've had a few periods where, the pass coverage, that they present here and the way I say it, the way they change the math, Jane, is really, it's impressive. But at the same time, we've got pieces on the outside that if you want to change the math and you want to send 5 guys at 3, I hope you guys can cover George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb one-on-one. And so they're not the only ones that can do algebra. We can change the math as well.
Exactly. That's the point. See, we may not realize this, but our defensive calling, and no knock on Mike Zimmer is antiquated. Mike Zimmer is antiquated. That doesn't mean that Mike Zimmer isn't a good defensive coordinator, but he's antiquated. Christian Parker, all the way down to the Washington Commanders. Are we hearing what he's saying? Christian Parker is even preparing the Cowboys for even what the Commanders are going to be doing. No matter what everybody's doing, he just explained it. They're all running this same type of defense now. They're all running this same type of defense. Christian Parker is preparing them to go up against what they're going to see, not only in the regular season. Christian Parker is paying dividends. I said this before. He's going to pay dividends that people don't understand yet. He knows these defenses inside and out. They're all running the same defense. Seattle, the Rams, now we know the Commanders. I mean, they're all running the same defense. They might put a slight variation on it. They're all running the same defense. And it's going to be the same thing that's going to give all of them problems when they see the Dallas Cowboys. That Vic Fangio defense is really, really good. The problem with that Vic Fangio defense, and it's the problem that anybody has, when you have the kind of talent the Cowboys have offensively, and not only the kind of talent, here's the part that people also are discounting: the brain of Dak Prescott. We watched Dak Prescott last year rip some of these same defenses to pieces. Rip these defenses to pieces. Ripped them up. We've seen it over and over and over. Dak is one of, if not the best, tight window throwers in the league now. Dak has been ripping these defenses to pieces. There will be no fear now, especially now when they see the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be a whole different story. It's going to be a whole different story. You watch what I tell you.
Next question for you. Congratulations on your upcoming anniversary.
Thank you.
You were just at Overshown's wedding. Jake's is coming up.
Yep.
What advice would you give to them? Because she's been with you, a lot of moves, watched how tough this business is.
Mm-hmm.
What message do you give to the brides and to the players to make a marriage work in this football life?
Well, number one, I think it's the most important decision that you make in your life. I know I would not be here. I don't want to get emotional talking about my wife.
Ooh. Boy, that's a powerful question by James Slater right there, boy. That's a powerful question. Ooh. Being married in this football life. Woo! Ooh, that'll make you emotional right there.
But, I would not be here if it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
But it's the biggest decision you're going to make in your life.
Yeah.
In this business, you better find somebody that's independent because they wear a lot of hats, whether it's chasing owls out of the house or things like that. Moving. She doesn't want me around when we move. She wants me out of the house. She wants me someplace else. But, you find the right one. You got to communicate. It's never 50-50. It's usually 70-30, 80-20, 20-80, and you just appreciate that. But, I'm very blessed.
Brad
Sham, Cowboys Radio 105.3 The Fan. You talked about Blues' improved approach. Are there returning defensive players who were maybe either under the radar or underperformed or not impact players last year whose approach you have seen that have similarly impressed you?
First one that jumps to mind, obviously, is just Demo with the way he's attacking the Mike spot, the green dot. Again, I'm not saying Demo's going to wear the green dot. I'm not saying he's not. We've got time to figure that out. He's done great.
Yeah, he wearing that green dot. He already said it. That he's already spoken it to existence. Frank Lawrence, appreciate that super chat. Frank Lawrence, I agree with you on this. Caleb, Malachi, and Jay Sean are not ordinary rookies. They have the type of ability that once they learn this Christian Parker system, they will more than likely come in and have some pretty good success. I'm not saying they're going to have veteran success, but I think they're going to have some very good success. I really do. I think they'll have some very good success. What's going on, Newhouse fam? I think they'll have some very, very good success. I really do. I really do. And a lot of people are saying that Caleb Downs is going to be the defensive player of the year or rookie defensive player of the year or whatever the case may be. Man, as much as I like Caleb Downs, man, I'm sorry. I'm just telling y'all who I believe is going to be the defensive rookie player of the year or however that goes. I think it's going to be Reuben Bain, man. I think it's going to be Reuben Bain. Reuben Bain, Caleb Downs has been put on a pedestal since he hit the league. And I don't think that's going to affect his play. But he's been really put on a pedestal. And I think he's going to play extremely well. Reuben Bain, man, people were doing everything they could do for this dude to not even get drafted, it seemed like, man. They were abusing Reuben Bain's hairline. They were talking about they brought up the old car accident thing with Reuben Bain. They were talking about his arms are too short. They were just saying all kinds of things about Reuben Bain. I just think this dude is playing with a different level of chip on his shoulder. I think Reuben Bain is going to be incredible. I think it's going to be incredible, but we'll see how it goes. JCT Slice, he said, Acho keeps talking about the Cowboys. Well, why wouldn't he? He's got to get them clicks. Man, JCT Slice, do you realize how, man, if they don't talk Cowboys, ain't nobody going to watch that show. Ain't nobody going to watch nothing they talk about unless they talk about the Cowboys. There's a reason why they're off FS1. Man, that channel, that dang gone show is terrible, man. This show is terrible. They have to keep talking about the Cowboys.
With it. Demo's not a Mike. He's a Mike and a dime. We call him different things. We cross-train him. He's been great. Again, I'm going to say it again, like, it's so cool for me to walk by Christian's office and see the line. Literally, there's a line of guys that want to sit in there. I think it started with PJ Locke because he was with CP in Denver. Then the next day, PJ Locke was in there. The next day, Demo was in there. The next day, Caleb was in there. Like, it's just these guys, they want to spend time with him and learn the way he thinks. And it's no different than me talking to Dak. Like, one of the reasons why I'm sitting in this situation is because of my relationship with Dak, not just as a man, but as a coach. And we read each other's minds, and we can fight like brothers. We fought the other day about something that was fun. And but I think, Demo, Kalen Carson's having a great camp. I love Kobe Durant, the way he's wired. Malik Hooker's been awesome. Siobhan Revel, he's been great. It's just, there's a different confidence on that side of the football. But again, hold my judgment because we're not playing real football right now.
See, this is one of the biggest problems with Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus needs to take a couple of years off and kind of reassess what's going on with him. Matt Eberflus has a people problem. I don't know if it's as much X's and O's with him. I think it's a people problem with Matt Eberflus. I believe somewhere along the line, Matt Eberflus started smelling himself and became very arrogant. And it happened his last 2 years in Chicago. His connection with the players got worse and worse and worse. They thought if they brought him here, it was going to be better. I don't think he ever had a connection in Dallas. Even though Jadeveon Clowney kind of talked about him, I don't think there was a connection in Dallas. I really don't. I don't think the players connected to him. But what we are seeing with Christian Parker, they're connecting with Christian Parker. There's a connection there. There's an interest there. There's the system has them excited to where they want to know more about it. How can they be more successful in it and do those types of things? And so that's what's going on that we're watching with Christian Parker. I told y'all this the other day. People discount people connections. They really discount this. Relationships are important. Relationships are important. How you deal with people are important. And one of the biggest parts of football, and I hear people, they just discount this stuff all the time. But the mentality of players matter. It just matters, man. It just matters on so many levels. This is the part I'm telling you Jerry Jones kept leaving off. The mentality of your team. Where do they get that mentality from? They're not supposed to be getting it from the owner. They're not supposed to be getting it from the GM. They're supposed to, some of that mentality they got to already have. You got to already have some of that mentality. But that mentality comes from the coach on down. Your coach even has to put that into the owners in a sense. He's got to get the owners so excited about him that they hire him. And he's got to be infectious. And this is kind of what we've been seeing with Brian Schottenheimer. He's laser focused. He's laser focused. And again, see, a lot of people don't understand what we're talking about here. So let me help some people out. We get people because they always want to be negative. They look at a glass as half empty. I'm sorry, I look at a glass as half full. So you can love it, like it, or hate it. You can still be excited about your team. Listen to what I'm telling you, Cowboys fans, and don't let anybody tell you different. You can be excited about your team and still be saying in the next sentence, but we have to see it on the field. You can say those things. People act like you can't say those things. Yes, you can. You can be excited about what your team will do or can do based on what you're seeing. It doesn't mean they're going to do it. Doesn't mean they're going to do it. But based on what you're seeing, you say they can do it. They can do it. It's okay to even say they will do it. Then we sit back and wait and see. But it's okay to be excited about your team and still be saying what Brian Schottenheimer keeps saying. What does Brian Schottenheimer said earlier? We're going to find our way to the Super Bowl. What did he just say then? We haven't been playing real football. Got to see it on the football field. I don't understand why people can't understand this part. People will actually get mad if you're excited about the team. Oh, don't be so quick. No, you don't be so quick. I like what I'm seeing. I like what I'm seeing. Haven't seen it in years. Yes, I'm going to be excited about it. If you don't like it, I guess you don't need to be in my because I'm going to let my light shine. When I get the evidence of things not seen, yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't care what anyone says. I'm excited about it. I'm absolutely excited about it. I'm excited about these Dallas Cowboys. I'm excited based on what I'm seeing, not just based on the fact that I like the Dallas Cowboys, and for the last 32 years, I've been thinking they're going to the Super Bowl. Come on, man. There are people even outside of us. They're not excited about the Dallas Cowboys because it's the Dallas Cowboys. We got people who even been hating on the Dallas Cowboys. They're excited about the Cowboys. Why? Because they're looking at what the Cowboys are doing. And they're just like, wow, they're moving like a team. Dare I say, they're moving like a team that wants to win a championship. This is why so many other people are excited about the Dallas Cowboys. And we got some of us, we still, yeah, but hey, man, we got to be, no, we don't have to be reserved. No, hey, we like what we're seeing. And if they don't do it, they don't do it. But I love what they're doing. Demetrius Noel said everyone in the NFL is wealthy because of Jerry Jones. I said it the other day. That is why you don't hear them speak negatively of Jerry. Yep, I said it the other day. Shoot, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Robert Dudley, I still think the Cowboys going to circle the block one more time on Brooks. I think going to circle the block one more time on Brooks. Ice cold, seeing is believing unless you live on faith. Ice cold, and the Bible tells us something that's very powerful. If you can see it, it's really not faith. Faith is not based on seeing it. Faith is based on the evidence that goes into it. And that's a very powerful thing the Bible explains. The Bible is basically explaining something about what you want in life. Well, whatever you want in life, you got to live like you want it. You got to execute like you want it. You got to believe in it, and you got to execute it. Frank Lawrence, appreciate that super chat. Frank Lawrence said, "Gee, thank you. I never knew the offseason could be so exciting." Hey, man, it's coming good. It is coming good. All right, I'm banning any kind of talk like what I just saw from this JPE bar with a gun showing. When we're not putting up that stuff. I'm not even on that type of energy. Yeah, JCT Slice, he ain't the only one. Believe me, there are people in Cowboys Nation that want George Pickens to act a fool too. He ain't the only one, so he ain't the only one need to be pointed out. Tony Hubbard said can't just be CD Pick and JW. Every offensive player got to be a threat. There it is. Everybody. Yeah, Braves, Cowboy, we're going to talk about that in a moment about people blaming Dak Prescott. It is mind-boggling. Yeah, I'm with you, Whiskey Weenies. I'm ready to see this defense get on the field. And again, man, people don't understand. It's okay. I don't know, maybe somebody got to say it out loud because we got a lot of people out there, they want you to walk around. I don't know how they want you to walk around. But understand this. You can be excited about your team while at the same time saying what Brian Schottenheimer's been saying and saying the same thing I've been saying. For as excited as I've been saying I am about the defense, I keep saying the same thing. I got to see it on the field. What did I say earlier? I'm excited about this defense. I'm excited about this team. But I want to see it in Oxnard, California. I want to see it with the pads on. I want to see it in the scrimmage against the Rams. I want to see it because that was the telling point of last year. You can be excited about what they're doing and be happy about your team while at the same time saying, I want to see it on the field. There's nothing wrong with that. Two things can be true.
Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. Dak said that Quinnen Williams told the guys that he has never been to the playoffs in his 7th year.
Crazy.
Yeah. How hungry do you see Quinnen Williams, and what can it do for a team to see that a guy like Quinnen Williams in the time he spent in the league hasn't been to the playoffs?
Yeah, it's interesting. When we traded for Quinnen last year, and the first time I met him, he had told me that, which I think is incredible. He had great success at Alabama, and so he's been around winners. But I was surprised because he's such an elite player. I think it proves a couple things. One, our game is not based on having one or two or three elite players. It's about the collective team. It's about 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams. But there's a hunger there. And he said to me, he goes, Coach, all I want to do is win. I just want to win, So it's not about the money. It's not about the, recognition I get. He goes, I just want to win. And when some of your best players are wired like that, as a coach, it's really motivating because, the things I'm saying to them up in front of the room, they believe those things and they're going to echo that in the locker room with maybe some of the younger guys that don't know that Quinnen's going into year 7 or 8, whatever it is. And guys not played in a championship game. He's never been to the playoffs.
Wow.
That's incredible. So we're going to get him there.
That is incredible. Now, I want you to check this part out. We got a lot of people that got mad that the Cowboys didn't get Myles Garrett. I'm going to say something that's going to make people mad. And I'm not worried about making people mad. And I'm sure it will reverberate to some other people and they'll probably be speaking against it. But I don't care. Y'all ready for this? This is going to make some people mad. People were mad that the Cowboys didn't go get Myles Garrett because people say that's a championship level move. And that proved that the Dallas Cowboys, that proved that the Rams wanted to win. You know what's funny to me? People are not giving us enough credit. Our own fan base don't give us enough credit. We actually did make a championship move. We made a Myles Garrett move. You want to know who it is? The player that he just mentioned, Quinnen Williams. Don't care who like it. Don't care who like it or hate it. Quinnen Williams is a championship level move. Quinnen Williams is arguably the best defensive tackle in the game. And you can put him no less than 3. Quinnen Williams is the de facto standard of what you want a defensive tackle to be. Who else are you going to mention? Chris Jones? Quinnen Williams. I don't think we realize how incredible that move was. That was an incredible move. The reason why it doesn't look like an incredible move yet is because we didn't have the system around him and we didn't have the players around him. What have I told y'all about dominant players? Dominant players need players around them so that they can dominate. Michael Jordan was a dominant player. He didn't start to dominate until he got Scottie Pippen and other players around him and Phil Jackson as the coach. That's when Michael Jordan began to dominate the league. That's when he started going on three-peats, when he got the players around him. When you are on a team where you are the team, you got to do everything. You're the highlight of the team. Either there's not talent around you, or either there's not a system around you, or there's a combination. You can be the best player in the league, but you're not going to dominate the way that you should until you get on a team with a coach and a system that allows you to be the dominant player that you truly are. That's why Quinnen Williams hasn't sniffed the playoffs. How do you be as good as Quinnen Williams and you haven't been to the playoffs? The coaching and the team around you, bottom line. I don't care who it makes, man. We've already made the Myles Garrett move. It was Quinnen Williams. We went out there and got a top 3 defensive tackle. And he's not 35 years old. We did that. We did something similar to what the Rams did. The Rams gave up Verse, went and got Myles Garrett. What did the Cowboys do? The Cowboys gave up Michael Parsons, and there was some. Do y'all remember this conversation last year? It was one Colin Cowherd who was saying, if I'm not mistaken, I think the player he was talking about was Verse. But there were people out there who was saying that Verse was on the verge of being as good as Michael Parsons. I don't think he's as good as Michael Parsons as far as a pass rusher goes, so we're not going to play that game. But Verse is really good. The Cowboys traded Michael Parsons, 2 first-round picks, got Kenny Clark, parlayed one of those picks into Quinnen Williams. That was our Myles Garrett move. That was our Super Bowl move. I understand if y'all want more. I want more too. I would love for the Cowboys to go get Jordan Brooks because I think they're going to circle the block on that move one more time. I would love for the Cowboys to add any player that they believe that can help this team. But let us not dare say that they haven't made moves that proves that they are all in. Because Quinnen Williams was an all-in move. Whether people accept it or not, he was an all-in move. And we got people out there poo-pooing it, acting like it's nothing. Tell me if you want to win a Super Bowl. Tell me who your defensive tackles are. I don't actually need to know who your edge rusher is. Because last time I checked, we ain't got these high-paid edge rushers out here winning Super Bowls. Tell me who your defensive tackles are. Tell me who your offensive tackles are. The Cowboys did that. They went and got Kenny Clark, and they went and got Quinnen Williams. If you don't think that's an all-in move, I can't help you. I can't help you. I'm not even worried about it. If anybody want to disagree, I'm not worried about it. But this dude, Quinnen Williams, was an all-in move. It was an all-in move. And this is why you're going to see something about Myles Garrett. I'm not going to be shocked if Myles Garrett don't get 20 sacks. I'm not going to be shocked if he gets 20 sacks or 25 sacks. But I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't get 20 sacks. Why? Because now he's going to be playing on a team. Now he's going to be playing on a team. And things look different. People perform different when they're on teams because it's no longer all about them. So it is amazing to me. You got a player with the talent of Quinnen Williams. He's never sniffed a playoff. That's crazy. That is
And one thing you and
insane.
Jerry Jones both talked about when he hired Christian Parker was his ability to teach. He's been literally quizzing players with pop quizzes and things like that. What does that tell you about him and just his teaching style in general so far?
Yeah, that he understands, what teaching's all about. It's not about what you say. It's not about what I get up there and how I present something or how cool I present it, whatever, the energy. It's do they retain it? And again, Brad's going to learn different than Todd, and Todd's going to learn different than Calvin. And so, you got to say things different ways, but you also have to be willing to test them. And the way we kind of like to do it, as a staff with our players is, a little 5 to 10 minute tests on the spot, not take home, and just kind of see where they're at. And it's our way of checking that the installations that we're doing. Hey, do we need to pull back? Are we okay? Do we need to move forward? Who's falling behind? If someone's falling behind, what's the plan to get them caught up? And it's just a great way of gathering information based on, how our guys are learning.
Garrett
Podell, CBS Sports. Hey, Brian, you said last year when CD was out, you learned that George could move all over the formation and do a lot of different things. What more are you exploring doing with him, like from a formational and maybe route running perspective that you didn't do with him in year
Can he
one?
tell you that, John Machota?
Well, number one, I will say this about George. Like when George came back, I was a little bit not worried, but I was like, it's going to be interesting to see how much he remembers because we've made minor adjustments, but he was on it, man. And all the mocks and the walkthroughs that we were doing, he was terrific. As we talk about evolving, I would say the biggest thing we're doing is we want to move George around more. He's not just going to live at X. He doesn't like that anyways. We want to put him in the slot some. We want to get him isolated some to the front side, the same side as the tight end.
Now, follow this. This is the part that people don't understand about George Pickens last season. George Pickens was ticked off in that Detroit Lions game, and people don't understand why he was ticked off. George Pickens, follow this. People don't realize that a lot of these football players, I really do think people sometimes kind of look at players and think they're dumb. People don't realize how smart these football players are. A lot of these guys, this is all they've done their whole life. They know football. They know how to play football. And some of these players are exceptionally smart. And I believe George Pickens is a lot smarter than a lot of people give him credit for. George Pickens could clearly see what the Detroit Lions were doing. And George Pickens got in his feelings because as clear as he could see what they were doing to him, that Brian Schottenheimer wouldn't make the necessary adjustments to stop letting this team think they could shut him down. If the Cowboys do what they're supposed to do, no team in this league can shut down CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens. No team in this league should be able to do that. George Pickens was ticked off because the only thing they just relegated him to, for whatever reason, they went right back to just slants and go. Man, George Pickens was ticked off. He was like, man, this is bullcrap. Now, he don't need to do that. He had that lapse against the Detroit Lions and I think against the Minnesota Vikings, because they both kind of used a similar plan. And Brian Schottenheimer came back later on and apologized and said it was his fault. Yeah, are you hearing what he's saying now? Yeah, we're not just going to line George Pickens up at the X anymore. Bravo, Brian Schottenheimer. Bravo. Do not just line up George Pickens in front of someone and says because he's 6'3" and he can go up and get the ball, we're going to just run slants and goes. No, this man is versatile and we know it. So this is one of the ways you can evolve the offense.
But the biggest thing is also having compliments off of routes that I know everyone's running. Last year, you guys basically tried to stop our slant game because he was so good at slants, and you guys kept asking me about it every week, and so everybody kept jumping inside and making it hard on us. So I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
The coaches appreciate that for making us work harder. But, slant and go. Is that what you want, Todd? Okay, let me write that down. Hold on, let me write Sluggo down here. That's the biggest thing is how do we complement the things that we know he is so good at, that the whole league knows, the whole world knows he's good at, but we've got things off of that. And, he's a fun tool to mess around with.
How many of y'all last year was screaming Sluggo? How many of us last year was screaming Sluggo? We could not figure out why were they not implementing that into the repertoire of George Pickens. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. This man is too doggone good. You got to use him in different ways. You got to use him in different ways.
I said Dak had like knee soreness, but then he ended up playing in the 11-on-11 team drills yesterday, so that's not an issue for him.
Yeah, not an issue at all. Yeah, it's more, what I talked to Dak about. I said, hey, as you get older, buddy, like, we're gonna have to, take a play or two off. But like, he is just such a competitor, man. It's like, nah, I'm good. I want to go. And so it was a funny deal because I was mic'd up, so we were trying to have a conversation, but I couldn't really say exactly what I wanted to say. But you guys know the way Dak is. But yeah, Dak's great. And he's always going to ask for more, and it's my job as the head coach to work with the training staff if we do think we need to pull back on some stuff, but it won't be a fun conversation because he'll push back.
He's the Athletic. Brian, you talked.
Yeah, I was thinking today, as I was thinking about this Dak Prescott knee thing, I was wondering if we're going to see a point in the season, or even in this training camp. I've been really wondering if we're going to see a situation where Dak Prescott, if that knee continues to be sore, if there will be a knee brace or something just for safety purposes. So, we're going to monitor this. We'll monitor this. We know Dak Prescott is a trooper. I think it was last season they started talking about that whole issue of they were talking about that issue of the ankle, and then he did the thing with the hamstring. So, of course, everybody's going to be monitoring this. I know exactly what Brian is talking about. Very glad they just kind of like said no more practicing today, and let's just let everybody get some rest, and then we'll get the Oxnard, and then we'll do the rest of it. So I kind of like what they're doing with this, and it is imperative that Dak Prescott stays healthy this season. Country Field said, when we come together like we're supposed to, we can be unstoppable. 2 or more touching and agreeing, good things happen all the time. All the time. All the time, man. Larry Hunter said, not getting Myles Garrett is like not missing what you never had. Yes, amen, Walls. Yes, sir. Whiskey Weenie said, a lot of these fellas on defense will be so much better from the explosive experience we just brought in, and they've never had to gel. Yeah. Tony Hubbard, this is a very good point that people don't understand. This is how the Eagles destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs in that 2025 Super Bowl. 2025, let me think. 2020. Yeah, the 2024 season. Yeah, the 2025 season. This is how they destroyed them in that Super Bowl. Whichever one. I'm mixed up on it, but you know the one I'm talking about. The Super Bowl before last. The pressure up the middle destroyed Patrick Mahomes. There was nothing he could do. There was nothing they could do. They could do nothing with the Eagles because of the pressure up the middle. There was nothing they could do. Yep. Pressure up the middle affects the quarterback more than off the edge every single time. Yeah, Ruger. I believe the Cowboys got everything they need to get into the dance. Robert, but I think they're going to continue to tweak. Robert Dudley said we went interior because our defensive ends didn't get us there. Yep, that's it. Got to go up the middle. Texel said, love the fact that you stood against a horrible name that flashed quickly on the show. Oh, yeah, I couldn't do that, man. He made some very good comments, too. I hate that, because he had some very good, but I couldn't do that, Texel's guy. Couldn't do it. Appreciate you. Appreciate the encouragement. Yeah. About Jordan. Yeah, they need to hear me about Jordan. They need to hear me about Jordan. No doubt about it. What's going on, Stephen White? Salute. What is going on? Antoine DC4L said Dallas has a massive fan base, but not all Cowboys fans are actual fans. Ups and downs happen. Accepting all of it is being a fan. Riding the highs and sheltering when we are down makes you a bandwagon. Yeah. Yeah, Whiskey Weenie, he said get those likes up. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Let's get this out into the algorithm. Yeah, there will be blood. I'm still holding out hope, but I think the Cowboys are going to circle the block. I think the holdup is that the Miami Dolphins want a 3rd round pick, and it's not just the Cowboys. Obviously, there's a lot of other teams that's not willing to give that up either.
About having leadership council this year. What value does that bring, and what was the process in getting the people on that council selected?
Great question. So I didn't do it last year. Last year was more about, one voice for me. Like I wanted to be the voice. I think, years past year, there's been a lot of people that talk to the team. And I just think as the head coach, especially certainly in year one, it's not about what I'm saying, but it's more about things don't get lost in translation. But I've also believed for my entire career that you want the locker room to lead this football team. This needs to be a player-led locker room, and so I have to afford those guys opportunities to have a voice. And so the way the selection process went, and I'll get more into depth about it in training camp. No, I don't want to do it right now, but I got with the coordinators. We wrote down a list of guys that we thought would do a great job. It's not just your best players. It's guys of influence, guys of character, guys that aren't willing to, speak up. They're willing to have hard conversations. And so really, really excited about it. We leaned a little bit on O2X, who's kind of a partner of ours, special,
You know what? Let me highlight this thing you said, Jabril Quinn. See, people do not understand what you're saying here. There's a lot of people that don't like what you're saying here. But Brian Schottenheimer is saying this. And you get people, the first thing they start talking about, we heard Bobby Belt. No disrespect to Bobby Belt. But we heard Bobby Belt talking about that the Cowboys may be looking at pass rush by committee, and then they may get too far into this thing and figure out that it doesn't work, and then they have to do something desperate at the trade deadline. I don't agree with that. I actually don't agree with that. You got to, at the end of the day, the Cowboys, I believe, know what they're doing. They don't want the team that they had before. This defense came and went with Michael Parsons. We watched the Dallas Cowboys defense for 3 years straight come and go with Michael Parsons. The Cowboys don't want that anymore. They are wanting to build a team with a system to where the system helps the players to be successful. And the players buy into a system that helps the team be successful. That's what they're trying to do. So that if somebody, happens to get injured, that you got depth enough that you can put somebody in there and the whole defense doesn't break down. That's what they're trying to do. And people don't appreciate that. Because people, for as much as they talk about team, they also get hooked on superstar players. They get hooked on names. They get hooked on all of those things. But I don't think they're necessarily trying to create a nameless defense, because we actually do got some big names on this defense. But I do believe they're looking at the last few Super Bowl winning teams, and you look at their defenses, and the players on the defenses didn't become names until after they won Super Bowls. That's what happened. Those players didn't become names until after the Super Bowls. Yeah, now they're names. But before those Super Bowl wins, they really were not names. And so this is where the Cowboys, they're trying to build a team. Christian Legal said, new identity. Yeah, Larry Hunt, I've been saying this about the team. They're trying to build a team. Teams win Super Bowls. It's a lie. We keep saying that that quarterbacks win Super Bowls. No, they don't. Quarterbacks win Super Bowls on great teams. When you got a great team, all the quarterback has to do is his part. He doesn't even, people keep saying, yeah, Dak Prescott, he's got to play outside of himself. Well, we never asked Troy Aikman to play outside of himself. The doggone defense in the first Super Bowl against the doggone Buffalo Bills, they went and knocked Jim Kelly's slap out the game. How much easier do you think the game became for Troy Aikman? When the Dallas Cowboys defense knocked Jim Kelly into Disneyland. How much easier do you think it made that game? You don't think that some of those turnovers were because they knocked Jim Kelly into the next season? Literally. they knocked him into the next season. Troy Aikman was getting short fields and everything. Why? Because the defense came in there and said, this is our Super Bowl. There is not one Super Bowl that the Dallas Cowboys won with Troy Aikman. To where anybody said, Troy Aikman, man, he played outside of himself. Troy Aikman put the Dallas Cowboys on his back. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Those 90 Super Bowls were won by teams. They were won by teams. And people don't even realize about the 90s Cowboys. It wasn't until after the Super Bowl, after the Super Bowls, that people started talking about the Dallas Cowboys players as superstars, because nobody was calling Troy Aikman a superstar the year before they won the Super Bowl. If anything, they were thinking about Steve Berline. Now, people were already kind of leaning towards that way with Emmitt Smith. Michael Irvin, injured early in that career with the Cowboys. A lot of things start coming together with that Cowboys team in 92, and it came together fast, quicker than anybody expected. Somebody mentioned it earlier. Repost what you said. I think it was Buttersoft. I meant to read it. I forgot to read it, Buttersoft. But Buttersoft said the same things, and I mentioned this the other day, when Jerry hired Jimmy, when Jerry took over the Cowboys, people were as critical and more critical then than they were even today. They were more critical. They were hating on the Cowboys so bad it was insane. Antoine DC4L said people criticize us for not signing Parsons and dropping that massive contract on one player. But if we did and weren't any better, we would be called dumb for doing that move. They don't care about us. Yep. And I always laugh. Nisi isn't on here today, but Nisi said a great statement. The same people who be talking about they love our guys be the same people crying for our guys and wanting us to wreck the franchise over a guy. Same people. Jose, people don't understand how great those Super Bowls, those defenses were in those Super Bowls. Krishna Guy, appreciate that super chat. He said everyone thinks one player wins a Super Bowl, but it's a team effort every single time. It doesn't mean that a player like Charles Haley doesn't help you out. But Charles Haley ain't gonna help you out if the team isn't in sync and playing well. When you get a player like Charles Haley on the right team, that's when that team begins to dominate.
Warfare group that we've kind of hired as an outside consultant, they deal with this all the time, and so they kind of helped us brainstorm some things. But I'm thrilled about the guys on the council. We've had a couple meetings, and we've already had a few things that we're going to adjust based off their recommendations. I told them, I said, you guys aren't getting everything you asked for, but bring it to me and we'll consider it. And so I think it gives those guys a chance to come to me when they need to. I have nothing to do with it other than them when they report back to me. So it's truly them solving problems, them addressing issues, them pointing out things that they'd like to see changed.
So was the coaching staff selected, or was it locker room input? How did?
No, coaching staff brought some names up. So Christian did, I did, Nick Sorensen did, Clayton Adams did, Ryan Feeder was obviously involved, and then I ultimately made the final decision. And 11 guys. I'll give you more details when we get into training camp.
And then aside from Mike McCarthy, you almost exclusively worked with defensive head coaches. Your father, Rex, Jeff Fisher, Chuck Pagano, on down the line. So you said you wanted to be more present with the defense this time around. How much do you take from all those experiences with defensive head coaches that you've worked under?
Yeah, I think, probably the number one guy I say I was affected by, other than my dad, was Pete, because Pete did a great job of coming over and explaining to me why certain things that we did, created problems, or why things were easy. And hey, but if you do this, it goes from easy for them to hard. And that's kind of what I'm doing for the defensive staff. For example, there's some protection things that, I know how the league blocks certain looks, and it's like, if you take this piece and you do that, it's a lot harder for us than if you do it where you have that guy. So probably that, and like I said, the coaches will know if I'm mandating something, but for the most part, I just love to talk ball. And I like to use my expertise on the offensive side of the ball to help those guys think of maybe different or better ways to, disguise things that cause problems for us offensively. So I love the chess match part of football.
Patrick.
Hey, Coach Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. I suppose it could be said that the Cowboys offseason doesn't start until you guys sign a UFL player. So you're looking to add Chris Glazer. The question is more so just in general.
Now, y'all might not remember this, but let me remind you. Did y'all remember what I told you? The Cowboys have 3 opportunities to improve this team. 3 more opportunities. One of those opportunities, what did I tell you? The UFL. I told you. I knew it, man. And I don't really think, to be honest with you, this year, I don't think the Cowboys have necessarily made a move on a player that is going to be, at least as far as I don't think they're going to be on the team impactfully, but they will be able to help impact the actual Oxnard, California experience. They'll be a part of that competition. But the Cowboys, man, they continue to look for ways to improve the team. And July 15th, watch what I tell you. That's going to be another opportunity. I'm not going to be surprised if the Cowboys go in, after July the 15th. And this may be when the Jordan Brooks thing happens. I'm really going to, we're all going to have our eye on July the 15th. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's when a Jordan Brooks move is made. Somebody's going to probably make a move on Jordan Brooks, because that's going to be when everybody's going to get into training camp. So there's really not a rush, probably by everybody at this point, to get Jordan Brooks. But the more things we keep seeing come out of Miami, it doesn't seem like Jordan Brooks is a part of the plan. Because if he was, I feel like he'd already be extended. So it sounds like the rumors are true. They want a 3rd-round pick for him. They want a 3rd-round pick. So we're going to see. We're going to see come July the 15th about Jordan Brooks and some other players. But the Cowboys, they've taken advantage of the UFL thing. Now they're going to take advantage of, I believe, July the 15th. And then we'll start seeing other things matriculate out as we get to the preseason and things of that nature. So the Cowboys are going to have plenty of more opportunities, at least 3 to 4 opportunities. And I'm talking about before the beginning of the season. I'm not even counting the trade deadline. They're going to have about 3 to 4 opportunities to continue to improve this team. But the UFL signings, I count those more as training camp things at this point in time.
Realities about why do you guys have so much success more often than not in plucking these guys from the UFL?
Well, I think, what the UFL has shown is that, it's been an awesome training ground. I mean, these guys they're good football players. And so I think it goes back to Will McClay and, Alex Loomis and the pro personnel department, that they spend the time watching those games and those films and breaking them down and giving us cut-ups of certain players that we look at. Of the 3 guys that we've kind of added, with Amir Speed, Glazer, and Denzel Mims, those are 3 that are out there. There was, I think, we had 14 guys or something at the workout the other day. So we go through the same process that we do for free agency and the draft in terms of we watch the film, we bring them in, we want to get around them, we see them work out if we can. And I just think it goes to our commitment to the fact that it's 24/7, 365. We have a chance to, churn a little bit the bottom end of our roster and get guys in here that we think have value for us in something, size, speed, ball skills, whatever it is. And, we're not afraid to do that. That's part of improving and building a really, really strong roster, is not being able to make some of those hard decisions and do it late.
And keep it to that question. You guys have in
They're doing what a lot of championship teams do. Everybody, you always want to improve your roster. A lot of people focus on just improving the top end of their roster, but the bottom end is just as important too. You got to have depth. You want depth pieces. You want to see if you can find some diamonds in the rough. You want to find some players that could benefit from your coaching, or benefit from your system. You're looking for these things. And for as much as the Cowboys, people just lose their mind every time they hear about a position group or a player the Cowboys, brought in for a tryout. Man, I'm not putting a lot of stock into that. I just think it's just if the Cowboys see somebody that could potentially help them, they look at them. And for as much as people keep talking about, they brought in running backs and whoever they brought in, I think they're speaking loud and clear. At this point, it doesn't look like a running back has stuck, because I think the Cowboys, no matter who they bring in, they're saying, well, what we have may be as good as what we brought in. And at this point, I think that's why some of them have not stuck.
there's a lot of speed there, obviously, but you guys have a lot of bodies at wide receiver as you're trying to figure some things out at wide receiver 4 and beyond. Where do you see Denzel Mims fitting going into training camp as far as trying to make some waves?
Yeah, well, again, I'd go back, and I'm happy for Paris. Like when Paris decided to retire, we lost some speed, and Denzel has speed. He's got speed and size, and I've been very open about the competition between Sam Howell and Joe Milton, and getting guys that can compete and, do a great job understanding what we're doing and helping us evaluate those guys. But again, Denzel's a guy that we think has the speed to play on the outside. He's got the size to do things we need to do in the running game. And I just think he's a really good fit. And, again, I'm happy for Paris. He's at peace with his decision, but that was part of the process that wanted to add a little bit more speed.
Clarence.
Just kind of piggybacking on it a little bit. Obviously, adding players is 365. Are there any holes, any areas you think you need to add before training camp?
I don't think so. Again, I think, like I said, I feel like we've added a lot of good depth. But I do think, Clarence, that once we get into pads and things like that, I think I'll have a better answer for you. But until you're truly fitting runs and truly rushing the passer and protecting the passer and things like that in pads, I like the way we look on paper. I like the makeup of the character of the guys we have. And watching them move around out there in shorts, we look pretty good.
All righty.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Have a great.
See, this is the part that frustrates people, but it doesn't frustrate me. See, people want the Cowboys to do everything they want them to do, and then if the Cowboys don't do what they want them to do, then they go out there and start talking about how dumb the Cowboys are, or the Cowboys don't want to win, and all of these different things. And I'm just telling you point blank, those things are not true. Those things are not true. Brian Schottenheimer is saying something that makes a whole lot of sense. What they have right now, they're happy with taking that into training camp. They're not saying that this is the final roster. It's not what they're saying. They're happy with the team they're taking to Oxnard, California. Translation, we're going to keep our ears and eyes open that as we are going through training camp, we put the pads on and we see somebody that's not playing well, or we see players in the group that's not playing well, or maybe the group as a whole isn't where we want the group to be, then we'll go out and start saying, okay, we need to get, for example, okay, maybe we need to get another linebacker. We like what we're seeing in Gary. We're like what we're seeing in Overshown. We're like what we're seeing with D. Winters. We're like what we're seeing, whatever. But maybe we need a little bit more. So then you go out and say, okay, July the 15th, let's go and see what the doggone Miami Dolphins are talking about with Jordan Brooks. Let's see if they're ready to shake him now, because no one else has came and offered him a 3rd round pick. So now maybe we can come and offer them something else and maybe they'll bite this time. People get so people just get so erratic about some of these things. If the Cowboys don't do exactly what they want them to do right now. No, like Dak Prescott said, it's too early for us to be worried and looking around at what everyone else is doing. Again, people just poo-poo Quentin Williams like, he ain't nothing. Yeah, we got him, but we need more. I'm not saying that we don't need more, but let's stop acting like that we didn't just go make a move that says we want to win the championship. Stop acting like that. Let's stop putting that stuff out into the atmosphere. Ice Cold, yeah, they knocked Jim Kelly into Disneyland, bro. Knocked him into Disneyland. But Phil said, we seen when DeMarcus Ware played, they were like 1 or 2 players away, but the moves were never made. And, you look at DeMarcus Ware, we were another team that was player dependent. Kippy said the media is duplicitous towards the Cowboys because it sells news. Don't pay any attention to them. Yep. Because Kippy, it's funny to me. You'll hear some of these same people talking bad about the Cowboys, and then they'll be the first one with a microphone in front of their face trying to be all hunky-dory and nice to them, knowing doggone well they just went and stabbed him in the back. Yeah, Freddie Morales says, shoot, Jimmy traded Michael while Michael was rehabbing. It was Jerry that vetoed that trade. Yeah. Yeah, Bruce Smith, one great player, but lost the Super Bowl 4 times. Yeah. Jason Brewer said Jerry Jones was a much better GM when there was no salary cap. And the reason why it was Jason Brewer, let's just be honest. Jerry was out there trying to change the NFL, letting Jimmy do what he needed to do. And then he would sit down, talk to Jimmy about what he wanted to do, about what Jimmy wanted to do. And then Jerry would go out there and make it happen. And Jerry is one of the architects of the salary cap, and he's one of the people that struggle with it the most. But remember when he hired Brian Schottenheimer, he said it straight up. He said, we could do this better, and we're going to do it better. And so far, they're doing it better. Yeah, since that salary cap era, 2 teams have been dominant, Kansas City Chiefs. And let's not forget, Jason Brewer, the Philadelphia Eagles. What? They've been to the Super Bowl, 3 times now in the last 10 years? That's pretty dominant, too. I mean, Howie Roseman has shown a great propensity to be able to navigate it. There Will Be Blood said during that time we was mad at them for getting rid of the legend Tom Landry. Yep. Christian Legal said, gee, one question. Who do you think our Charles Haley is? Christian Legal, I'm about to tell you something that's crazy. A lot of people don't understand what I'm about to say, and some of y'all will. Our Charles Haley move has not been one player. Our Charles Haley move has actually been multiple players. We went and got George Pickens. I've told y'all this before. I saw Alvin Harper. Alvin Harper was a beast. George Pickens is better than Alvin Harper. Yeah, I said it. George Pickens is better than Alvin Harper. George Pickens is the player the Cowboys went and got on offense that totally changed this offense. It was already great because CeeDee Lamb is an alien. But when you added George Pickens, we didn't even scratch the surface last season of what they can truly do with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. This year, we're going to see, I believe, Brian Schottenheimer do some things that are going to blow our minds with CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Ryan Flanoy, Ferg, and the player that I'm really excited about is Michael Trigg. George Pickens, though. A lot of people have been crying about this 13 personnel. Why would the Cowboys run 13 personnel when they got George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb? Why would they want to run 13 personnel primarily of the time? No. The Dallas Cowboys want to keep 3 wide receivers on the field as much as possible because they are unstoppable. The amount of things, the things that Javonte Williams was able to do out of 11 personnel is incredible. And the reason being is you got wide receivers like George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And then our other move, Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark. We got to take them as a tandem because we got both of them as a result of the Michael Parsons trade. We've already made, Christian Legal, people don't even understand this. We've already made monster moves. And we're saying that, well, we need more. I'm not telling you we don't need more per se, but even more doesn't guarantee. No, the Cowboys got exactly what they needed. They got Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, George Pickens, Christian Parker, BT Jordan. Those are 4 all-in Super Bowl moves, but people will tell you that they are not. No, they are. I got news for us. Let's go back to 1992. Let's go back to 1992. Let's think about who was the coach the Dallas Cowboys brought in to fix Troy Aikman. When the Cowboys went and made that move, that also elevated the team. Jimmy understood something that Jerry is just now figuring out. Coaches matter. And what was needed for Troy Aikman, Troy Aikman has already talked about this. When they went out and got, I forgot his name, so many names. I forgot his name. North Turner. Do y'all realize that Christian Parker is our North Turner? We went and got North Turner specifically to fix Troy Aikman. Specifically to fix Troy Aikman. And North Turner paid dividends. We went and got Christian Parker and BT Jordan. People keep leaving off BT Jordan. I'm not leaving him off. We went and got Christian Parker and BT Jordan to do what? To not only fix this defense, but to put this defense on an accelerated program to where we don't have to wait until November to start seeing results from this team. The problem is with some of us is that we listen to people who keep telling us that we have not been making all-in moves because we're not making the moves that they think we should have made. No, we've been making all-in moves. We've been making them. When you look at the complexion of how this team changed in just 1 year, it's absolutely incredible. We're doing the same thing that they did from 1991 to 1992. They made moves that even back then, for all of the folk who were not alive back then, I was alive. I saw it. Nobody knew North Turner was a Super Bowl move. Nobody knew Charles Haley was a Super Bowl move. Nobody knew Alvin Harper was a Super Bowl move. Nobody even knew the Herschel Walker trade was a Super Bowl move. We don't realize it because we got too many naysayers in the community who won't tell you that the Michael Parsons trade was a Super Bowl move. Kenny Clark was a Super Bowl move. Quentin Williams was a Super Bowl move. Firing Matt Eberflus was a Super Bowl move. Bringing in BT Jordan, bringing in Christian Parker. They won't tell you those are all in moves because they always want to tell you we need to do more and more and more and more. What are we talking about? Man, this team looks incredible compared to what it was last year. I'm not telling you that if Jordan Brooks becomes available, the Cowboys shouldn't get him because I want them to get Jordan Brooks. But we need to stop acting like these people who keep talking out there, keep trying to tell us the Cowboys haven't done enough and the Cowboys haven't done enough and the Rams are proof of what it looks to be all in. Well, why can't the Cowboys be proof of what it looks like to be all in? When you look at the moves that we made, that people outside of the organization keep looking at the Cowboys saying, my dark horse pick for the Super Bowl are the Dallas Cowboys. Why are they seeing something that we're not seeing? Why are they seeing things that we're not seeing? April Showers, appreciate the super chat. April Showers said, you have a YouTube channel mimicking your talking points, must be watching your show. Oh, wait a minute, you said H. Hold on a second, I didn't get this part. You have a YouTube channel mimicking your talking. Oh, got you. Got you. You saying that there's somebody out there mimicking my talking points. Must be watching your show. You're becoming the best in the business. Underrated and duplicated. April Showers, hey, you brought it up. I'm just going to say it. You brought it up. But April Showers, I'm telling you, I have this conversation with my wife quite frequently. And I tell my wife, I'm like, it's people out there that don't say it, but they're listening. They're not saying it, but they're listening because when I glance, I'm like, that's the talking point that I had, and now they've taken it for their own. They say imitation is the best form of flattery, so I ain't, it is what it is. But I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, April Showers. To God be the glory. All right, let me read another super chat here before we move on to Dak Prescott. Frank Lawrence said, let this sink in. Dallas Cowboys signed Michael Trigg to a 3-year, $3.1 million UDFA contract. The front office is serious about winning. Frank Lawrence, you said it earlier, Michael Trigg is not your normal rookie. He's a grown man. Michael Trigg is a grown man. He coming in here balling. Michael Trigg doesn't fall to the 5th round unless they were holding something against him. And that's exactly what they did. What's going on, USMC? He said, yes, I would say Pickens is a little better than Harper. I loved Harper. And USMC, You get what I'm saying. A lot of people may think that's a knock on Alvin Harper. No, Alvin Harper was incredible. He wasn't George Pickens. he wasn't George Pickens. Shoot, he was not George Pickens. Man, I am telling us, George Pickens is a next level talent. And I believe the Cowboys, I think he's here to stay. Yeah, Robert Dudley, I'm sorry. I had to go. Yeah, North Turner. People don't realize North Turner was the Christian Parker move. Troy Aikman, I've already shown this before. For as much as people talk about Troy Aikman, and I love Troy Aikman, absolute dog, field general, anything you want to name. Troy Aikman's career is defined in 6 seasons. 6 seasons, it's defined. He was an absolute monster, but he also had a monster of a team around him. And they dominated. Troy dominated because they dominated. Troy dominated because he had a dominant team, a dominant system, dominant coaches. A Jerry Jones that said win at all costs. Everything was aligned in 1992 and 93. The moon, the stars, everything aligned. The ocean had tidal waves, everything aligned. All the way down to the roaches and the rats. Everything was aligned in Dallas in 1992. Everything was aligned. People keep saying the Cowboys aren't making all-in moves. Yes, they have been making all-in moves. They absolutely have. Glenn Harrison said, I saw the transformation back then and I see it now. This team is looking dangerous. They're metamorphosizing right before our eyes. They are changing. They are changing. Yeah, they are changing right before our eyes. And some people, they keep telling us that we're not seeing it. No, we're seeing it. We're seeing it. Top flight, 2 things can be true. And that's why I keep saying, you can be excited about the team and doing exactly what Brian Schottenheimer said. Brian Schottenheimer said we're going to find our way into the Super Bowl. Got to see it on the field. There's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Robert Dudley said Thomas Everett from the Steelers was a Super Bowl move. Yep, before Darren Woodson was drafted. And guess what, Robert Dudley? And nobody knew it. And nobody knew it. Nobody knew it was a Super Bowl move. Nobody knew it. There will be blood. Well, I ain't gonna argue with them. They'll tell you they are. JP the Goose said, I believe in the progress. Train into new greatness. Yeah. Hey, Christian McGowan, everybody knew don't. Now, Deion Sanders. We do Deion Sanders. We do David. Hey, we do Deion Sanders was a Super Bowl move. They had to do something because that team was falling apart after they let go of Jimmy. Davion Wallace, because negativity sells, G. Positivity is looked at as being bad. Yep. Exactly. Just Lee said, love the energy you bringing. Man, I'm telling you, it's okay to be excited and say you want to see it on the field too. It's okay. Running the voice, he said often imitated but never duplicated. Hey, y'all heard me say it the other day. Hey, can't nobody beat me being me. Can't nobody beat me being me. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me in what I do. So, man, I appreciate all the comments. Let me read a few more, then we're gonna roll over here to Dak Prescott, because man, I got something to show you about George Pickens, man. This George Pickens segment is about to be incredible. It's about to be incredible. There'll be blood. He said, G, accept your flowers, man. Appreciate you, brother from another mother. Appreciate you. Hey, Hail Mary. And Hail Mary, you make a great point. Harper was incredible until he left Dallas. You want to know why? Want to know why, Hail Mary? You already know this. Because he fit the system. This is why I don't want George Pickens to leave. And I believe this is why George Pickens doesn't want to leave. George Pickens has found a system that fits him. I'm not talking about just the play calling. I'm talking about the locker room. I'm talking about the culture. I'm talking about the mentality. George Pickens has found the place that is perfect for him. He's found that place. He's found it. And I believe that he's going to be here to stay. I'm holding out hope. Leah said, yeah, man, I remember little Kelvin Martin, man. I remember little Kelvin Martin. Kelvin Martin stepped up big time when Harper left. I remember it. I remember. What up, Ron Mack? What up, Tariq Salim? He said, every year we say the same thing. Nah, we ain't saying the same thing this year because it ain't look the same. Brandy, what is going on? Good to see you. Mendoza said Harper had Irvin and Pickens had CD. It's all about feeding off each other. Yeah, we got a system, man. And the thing we got to focus in on is the system that they're running. Derek Rose said, gee, sometimes when you're too close to a situation, you cannot see it clearly. Can't see the forest for the trees. The Cowboys are definitely making big-time moves that should pay Super Bowl dividends. And, Derek, a lot of people out there are saying it. Glenn Harrison said, gee, you predicted this last season. Hey, man, I'm even more dug in. I'm even more dug in. Terry Tatum said, oh, yeah, Jay Novacek was a monster. Boy, Jay Novacek was a monster, Terry Tatum. Jeremy Betts, the Michael Parsons trade and compensation paved the way for complete defensive overhaul that was able to happen with with the 7 impact players we have on defense now. Think about that. And absolutely. 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 Top Flight said, yeah, he finally has a good quarterback. Top Flight, I love that name. Top Flight security. Look at Debonair, that avatar too, man. Top Flight. Yeah, you got a receiver to get him the ball, Brandy. Yeah, G was right. I'm just telling us. You just got to watch what we're seeing. Freddie Morales said, explain something to me. How can you be a fan of the Cowboys and all you do is badmouth Jerry and Dak? Man, yeah, boy. Hey, Fizzwiggy said, don't want the Sorsby negative atmosphere. Let's keep everything. Yeah, I got the Sorsby story. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Larry Hunter, the vibes are different here this year. Yes, it is. Yes, I'm sorry, JCT Slice, you got to repost that. Yeah. Robert Dudley said when Alvin Harper left town, then Jay Novacek retired, I saw the tea leaves leaving too. Yeah, man. See, Jerry took for granted how great Jimmy Johnson was at talent acquisition. Jimmy was great at talent. Jimmy was so close to college football at that point in time. A lot of the players that were in the NFL, Jerry knew a lot of those players, because he had coached them or coached against them, knew some of the coaches that had been promoted. There was so many things that Jimmy knew. And Jerry discounted just how great Jimmy was. I'm pretty sure now, as he's looking at Brian Schottenheimer, I'm sure now he realizes how great that Jimmy was. He realizes. Jabril Quinn. Oh, that's a great statement. The team name is the Dallas Cowboys, not the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. Yeah. D-Block, my man, D-Block 8844. What's good? Yeah, we making Super Bowl moves. Yeah, let's get into this thing with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is always a good interview.
Talk about how good it feels to see George back on the field and just talk about the energy that he has to the locker room and the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. As you just said, George being here, you feel his energy, you feel his presence. It's in the locker room. Obviously, it's out there on the football field, and just to get back in sync, throwing. Everything felt good. He looks great. Know he's going to be ready for camp, and the excitement is you can feel it.
Why did y'all cancel the last day of practice?
Say again?
Why did you cancel the last day of practice?
Didn't realize. I don't know.
You didn't realize it was canceled practice this morning?
I mean, we were pretty much like mock walkthrough anyways today. So.
How many helps guys get out of here faster? I mean,
I think it's just a testament to the offseason, how great of an offseason we've had, everybody being connected. We had one of our NFL meetings, and if the guy made the free throw, we didn't have the walkthroughs, and he nailed the free throw for the team. It was great excitement there, and so, I think it's more of just, Shotty throwing a ball. I'm sure you've seen out there other teams, right, cancel the whole thing or just this or that, and I think in all my time, I don't know if we've ever actually practiced on the third day, so. That's why I wasn't, wouldn't call it a cancel.
Who made it free throw?
The NFL security. Yeah, Rick Burkhead. Yeah, Burkhead.
Okay.
Yeah, I almost called him Rex, but that's his son. Rick Burkhead.
But the cool thing about this thing that they did of canceling the practice, I brought this up earlier. They actually didn't cancel the walkthrough, and I think that's very important that they didn't cancel the walkthrough because that gives George Pickens an opportunity to get on the field and just walk through with the team, walk through with the installs, just walk through. I mean, that's just real smart. It's just real smart. Christian Legal said George Pickens said he loves Dallas and told Mulugeta not to mess it up. Yeah, I believe so too. I believe so too. And matter of fact, I'm gonna make sure I play that Brian Broaddus thing again when we get to George Pickens, because for as much as George Pickens said he listens to his agent, Brian Broaddus said he got on good authority that he's actually listening, that he is actually running his agent. And I absolutely love that. Frank Lawrence, appreciate that super chat. Pickens keeping quiet was a major pain, but his inspiring words to the press yesterday energized this locker room and the Cowboys fan base. You know what, Frank Lawrence, and I agree with you. It helped the team. Because again, they get to go on their break with no drama. They get to go on their break with no drama, man. None. Unless something, as Brian said, comes out later. They get to go on that break with no drama. And I'm giving George Pickens so much credit. From the beginning, George Pickens has controlled the narrative. From the beginning. No matter what anyone said, George Pickens didn't say a word. George Pickens didn't post any cryptic text. And even when people said he tried to do something cryptic, then we went back and listened to the interview when he came back yesterday. How many times did he say, man, I couldn't even count it. That's a part of George Pickens' vocabulary. When he talks, he says, a lot. Shoulder shrug, big deal. But people just ran with it. Yeah, man, George is expressing his frustration. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? This man came out and said he was actually happy. And you know what the doubter said? No, he wasn't. They're in his brain. He wasn't happy. He just said that to please the Cowboys. If George Pickens said that just to please the Cowboys, he don't need to be here. Because that's an act. To do something to please somebody is an act. No, I believe what George said. He was doing what he was doing because that's who he is. Betty Gray said, Cowboys haters, bandwagon fans, listen up. Y'all are about to F around and find out when you see them boys holding the trophy. Yes. What's up, Lost in Translation? Let me go back here. Marvin Mays said when we win the Super Bowl, Parsons is going to be salty. They going to be salty. Said we win the Super Bowl, you're going to be salty. You're going to be salty. What's going on, Bass? What's going on? We just finished the Dak Prescott thing. Yeah, Tony Casillas. Tony Casillas was great. Absolutely. Yeah, Larry Hunter said, you said it, G. GP controls the narrative, and he heard you. Man, I tell you what, I'd love to have a personal conversation with him. But he definitely, I've been saying it all along. George Pickens is going to determine the outcome of all of this. He controlled what he can control. He controlled himself. Bottom line.
11th year, a lot of people would ask, like, how do you improve? Because at this point, you should, for the most part, have the fundamentals down. We've talked about your footwork over the years. Someone told me you've gotten really good at playing under center. And when I went and looked at your numbers, you had 10 touchdowns from under center. Is that an aspect of your game that you've tried to improve, or is that something the team has wanted you to improve?
A little bit of both. Just shoddy, kind of what he wants to do with the offense. I mean, when you're under center and you can throw the ball from under center, obviously the threat of the run is heavy there. And just you look across the league in the NFL, a lot of times guys are under center, they're running the ball. They're in the gun, it's more heavy pass. And so just be able to run the full offense from under center helps, complements everything. Because of the offense, we want to do that. Yeah, I've taken pride in my footwork and just trying to nail that down. And so, I mean, that's just another place that I can get better. I mean, if you're not trying to get better at this game, then you probably should look for the door to get out. And so every year I'm going to try to push the envelope and get better in every aspect. Just seeing the field and playing ahead of the game, the experience helps. So even that.
I have a dumb question.
Now, you think about what Dak Prescott is saying, and I told y'all this, and I've been telling you this about about Dak Prescott. This is what separates Dak Prescott from Tony Romo. A lot of people try to make the Dak Prescott and Tony Romo comparison, but there's actually no comparison to me between Tony Romo and Dak Prescott, because the biggest difference between Dak Prescott and Tony Romo is, one, leadership. Number two, Tony Romo was a natural athlete. He was great at throwing the ball. It's just a lot of things athletically came natural to Tony Romo. The difference between Tony Romo and Dak Prescott is Dak Prescott worked to get to the point to where he is. He's worked to become a great thrower of the football. Now he's working to become great under center. And being better under center, follow this, it will prolong the career of Dak Prescott. Because when there is a threat of the run, Nate Newton talked about this phenomenon last year. When you have a threat of a team running, that in itself buys you another half second. It may even buy you a full second. But if you think that there's a possibility that the quarterback is going to hand the ball off, half a second, you got to stop and see, did he hand it off? And if he didn't hand it off, now you got to regroup yourself. And now you got to get after the quarterback. And that in itself is what you create when you can play from under the center. It's that half second delay that helps out your left tackle. That helps out your right tackle. It helps out everybody all the way down, guards and center. It helps out everybody, because when you're just rushing the passer, you just pin your ears back, you tee off. But when there's a threat of the run, all you need is a half second delay. It's all you need. And football is a matter of timing. Half a second can be the difference between a touchdown. It can be the difference between a touchdown or whatever the case may be. It can be the difference between a big play. That half second, that just that little bit of pause. And so this is what they're developing, man. This is the kind of stuff that prolongs the career of Dak Prescott, but also helps Dak Prescott to be better. Because even if those cornerbacks, they gotta just for a split second look in the backfield. That's a half a second that George Pickens gets to run past him, or CeeDee Lamb gets a step on him. So many things happen when you talk about from under the center.
What are the nuances between shotgun and under center?
Getting away from center, and then just making sure at the top of the drop you're balanced. So just kind of that combination of getting away to create space, but yet having your feet under you and being ready to throw and make any throw at the top of the drop.
Yeah, assuming you guys are doing your trip again that you normally do with us, does that take on any more importance this year because you've not had as much time on task with George at all?
There you go right there. Speaking of him, that guy makes it easy. You see us just in the routes on air out there, but you just go turn on the tape. That guy's going to get separation. He's just different. He understands his leverage. He understands his route. He understands where I'm looking for him at the catch point, the depth. So, yeah, that's going to be a beneficial time. It's going to be great, but we can go throw a lot of touchdowns right now. That guy's ready.
See, and I'm telling y'all about George Pickens. I mentioned this in the last segment about Brian Schottenheimer. You know, people will say certain things about a player, and sometimes we look at a player and the way they wear their hair or different things like that. And, you know, people sometimes try to sum up people's intelligence. But, man, I am telling you something. George Pickens isn't just a talented wide receiver. Dak Prescott is explaining what I said earlier. Man, this dude is a smart football player. Brian Schottenheimer was explaining that. This dude is a very intelligent football player. He knows exactly what he's doing. And Dak is talking about this man's intelligence. Athletically, we already know he's ready to go. Mentally, we know he's ready to go, it seems. Intellectually, this guy is smart, man. This guy's a very good football player. He really is.
Being out is hard because of you.
You said, go ahead.
I had the first couple words there.
Go ahead.
Yesterday, George Pickens said that it's hard to hold out when you've been in your house, CeeDee Lamb, and hanging out with you guys as teammates. What did some of those conversations? He said you guys didn't talk about the contract necessarily or the benefits of holding out, holding in. But where do you think your influence led him to come back?
I mean, the guy loves the game. I don't necessarily know if I think maybe him just saying that, he's just saying like how much he loves the game, how much he loves the brothers, how much he loves being in the huddle, just, being on the field with me, CD, Javonte, whoever it may be, Ferg. I mean, just to hear their banter back and forth, like this game is fun. And that's a guy that's always looking to have fun and get better at this game. And so him being away from the game, I'm sure was hard. Obviously being somewhat in that position years ago, you want to be with your brothers. You want to be with the people that you've committed the time to. You're making the sacrifices. And so guys getting still a nice check. I mean, I think I said this right a while back. I mean, knowing that was an potential that he was going to go on the tag, there was no doubt in my mind that the guy wouldn't be ready, that he wouldn't show up, that he wouldn't do everything that we've asked him to, and he's going to do that.
I'm going to tell you something that some of y'all pointed out to me. And I really believe this to be true. A lot of people are saying that George Pickens is taking a risk, and I myself, Darren Woodson, Dak Prescott knows that this is a risk that George Pickens is taking going out there on the football field. But I just believe this. It doesn't mean that it's true. I'm just telling you what I believe based on past history. If George Pickens was to go out there and suffer an injury, I wholeheartedly believe that Jerry Jones will do the right thing by George Pickens, and I think he will get extended. I believe he will get extended. They did it when Michael Gallup got injured. They did it when Dak Prescott got injured. They did it for Jalen Smith, and he was injured before he came to the team. They did it with DeMarcus Lawrence. The Cowboys have actually got a history of doing these types of things. That if you're willing to go out there and play on that tag, they're not going to leave you out there and say, that's no, as Curtis Blow said, these are the breaks. I don't think they're going to do that. Doesn't mean that what I'm telling you is true. But I believe it is true because we got enough history to back it up. I don't believe the Cowboys would hang George Pickens out to dry. I just don't believe they would. Because in the eyes of Jerry Jones, to go out there and play on a tag, to Jerry Jones, that's loyalty. That's loyalty. Jerry Jones is so old school. And people don't realize how old school this man is. And there'll be people, they'll argue against this point, and I'm not mad if you argue against it. But I believe that if this happened, I believe Jerry Jones is going to take care of him. And I think somebody has probably told him this. Don't worry, man. If you go out there and hurt yourself, Jerry's going to take care of you. And I don't think it's going to be no $15 million a year deal. No, I think he'll still get him in the top 10 paid. I think he'll still throw $30+ million a year at him for 3 or 4 years. I wholeheartedly believe it. I wholeheartedly believe it. I don't believe Jerry's gonna hang him out to dry like that. I don't. Marvin Mays said I believe that too, G. I believe it. Bad said, I think Jerry has a soft spot for injured players. So if GP3 gets injured, Jerry will cradle him too. You're right. I believe it, man. I believe it. Good to see you, Randall Armstrong. I believe it. JCT Slice, Ryan Clark said the base shows need the Cowboys. Oh, you better believe it 100%. Marvin Mays. And this is the exact point I believe too. George Pickens believes it too. Yep. I believe it too. I believe George Pickens believes it too. I believe he believes he's safe. Derek Rose said, G, you've been blessed with an ability to break down situations and explain it where everyone can understand it. I believe your show is the source of a lot of the talking heads. Hey, Derek Rose, you said it, I didn't. Well, actually, I did kind of mention it earlier after April Showers, but hey, Derrick Rose, I've seen some things. I'm going to leave it alone, though, but I've seen some things. And it's funny, Derrick Rose, this is the same thing that I hear a lot of people say about my preaching. Same thing a lot of people say about my preaching. To God be the glory. Robert Dudley said, so do I, G, because GP3 has extended the olive branch. Jerry Jones knows that. Robert Dudley, I'm telling you, I believe it, man. I believe it. And Marvin Mays, What you said is what I believe too. I don't believe George Pickens is doing what he's doing unless he believes it too. I don't believe it. I don't think he does it. I don't think he does it. I don't think he does it. I think that there is some assurance that somebody has basically told him, don't worry about it. And I'm sure one of those people is Dak Prescott. I'm sure one of those people is Dak Prescott. George, if you get hurt, I'm about 99% sure that Jerry will extend you. I think we're still paying Michael. I think we're still paying Michael Gallup, man. I think we're still paying Michael Gallup. Nobody could understand the Michael Gallup contract. Man, Michael Gallup, the contract Michael Gallup got is one of the biggest mysteries in football, man. No, I mean, it's a mystery to some, but I believe that Jerry gave Miles, I believe he gave Gallup that contract because Gallup fought back, played, and, probably came back early, injured himself, and Jerry said, I'm paying you. Glenn Harrison said, GP knows, and that's why he wants to stay. Yeah, Ron Mack, he said, I believe Jerry will reward the loyalty. That's why some of the former Dallas Cowboys have offices at the Star. I believe it, man. I believe it. Christian McGow, I believe he told his agent he believed it. Because I'm pretty sure his agent probably told him, don't do it. Yeah, there will be blood. Jalen Smith, he was hurt. He was hurt before he got here. Them KJs, I forgot about Steele. Yeah. We got evidence. That if this man was to get hurt, I believe Jerry's going to take care of him. Bass, we still paying Gallup, Zeke, and Martin, and a whole host of other players. Bro, I'm telling you, man, I believe this wholeheartedly. And I believe GP believes it too. April Showers, appreciate the super chat. Jerry loves when you go through tough negotiations and comes out through it on top. He will give you the world. I agree. I agree. People might not agree with me, but I agree. Yeah, real quick, I agree with you. I agree with you. I believe he believes that. I agree.
What's up, Brazil?
Brazil,
Yeah.
fans.
What's up, Brazil? Hola.
Hola, we are here for the World Cup. What's your expectations to play in Rio de Janeiro?
Yeah, super excited. Obviously, first time playing an international game. Other than the travel, that flight out there, expect it to be a great experience. Ready to see the fans. I know how passionate they are about soccer or football, so just to experience that in our game would be fun.
Can you call our sport as football too?
Football.
Yeah, football.
Football.
Both,
We're football. Y'all football.
Football.
Football,
And your
football.
My football. It's okay?
Sure.
Can we trash the soccer and football for us too?
No. Us Americans got to be able to, separate soccer and
Do you
football.
not have a deal with that?
No deal.
All
No
right.
deal.
I try it.
There you go.
I am telling you, I think there's something about this whole World Cup thing. Miss Matrix, I think you mentioned it the other night. There is something to this World Cup thing to where, they are basically saying, hey, everybody talk about the World Cup. But I'm telling you, there is a bigger, grand idea in this. They want the Cowboys to be like this. I mean, not the Cowboys. They want the NFL to be like this. They want the NFL they want teams all over the world so that there will one day be a World Cup of the NFL. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Appreciate you. There will be blood. He said, I'm the CP of the podcast world of Cowboys. I appreciate you. David Bass said GP3 walks into the Canada office and sees Tyron Smith name on the ledger. Edward Frazier says Jerry loves black loyal players. Man, I'm telling you, Jerry loves his players, man. He loves his players. Hey, V. Ron Cooper said players probably getting paid some commercial profit. Hey, you remember though, V. Ron? You remember back in the 90s, man, when they signed Deion Sanders, boy, there were a lot of people that were, they were accusing Jerry Jones of cheating because Jerry got Dion, and immediately Dion started getting all them endorsement deals. Boy, everybody was tripping on that, bro. Man, you get paid in more ways than one with the Cowboys.
Thank you.
Calvin, sir.
Piggybacking off James' question.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Can you ask a question, Mr. Hill?
No.
Tad, we about to start pointing them out again. You want me to point them out? wait to be called on.
Say it with your chest.
Don't get me started right now. Piggybacking off James' question, is it last couple of years you've had some contractual issues with players? Is it good not to have that cloud over the season, and especially going into camp?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Obviously,
Thank you, Dak Prescott, for just saying it straight out. Same thing I've been saying. This team needed a quiet and boring offseason for a change. People think that don't wear on a team. That stuff wears on a team. I mean, every single offseason, it's a contract issue. It's a player issue. It's the player yakking back and forth in the court of public opinion. Content creators siding with the player. Media siding with the media, siding with the player. I mean, it's just a bunch of nonsense. I'm giving George Pickens a lot of credit in this because he's controlled this narrative. I'm giving Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb a lot of credit in this. I think they've been a part of this. And I'm giving Jerry Jones credit in this because he hasn't had himself out there running his mouth about the George Pickens situation. This is a combination of a team that is absolutely in sync. And I believe they got a plan for George Pickens. And a lot of people keep saying it's only 1 year. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying this as a 1-year deal with George Pickens. Because if the Cowboys get to or even close to a Super Bowl, you would be foolish to not bring back George Pickens. You'd be foolish. You'd be sabotaging yourself.
we're used to it, so it wouldn't be absurd to have it. But it is good that, we won't have that this year. Right, George is going to be there. Wish he would get the long-term contract, but I'm sure, that's all being talked about and discussed in closed doors, and it's not necessarily has to happen immediately. So,
Bass, what did we say the other day? Bass, what did I say the other day? There are conversations. I believe there are conversations going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. Did I not say that, Bass? Cowboys Nation, do y'all remember when I said this? There are conversations going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. And if you ask me, George Pickens is carrying himself in a way like there are conversations going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. Let you hear Rain Dakota Prescott say the same thing in a different way.
Say it with your chest.
Don't get me started right now. Piggybacking off James' question, is it last couple of years you've had some contractual issues with players? Is it good not to have that cloud over the season, and especially going into camp?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Obviously, we're used to it, so it wouldn't be absurd to have it. But it is good that, we won't have that this year.
Yes.
Right, George is going to be there. Wish he would get the long-term contract.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, that's all being talked about and discussed in closed doors, and it's not necessarily has to happen immediately. So, hopefully these are the last of those questions, and we can, get them on something long-term whenever that's right.
What did Dak Prescott say? I'm sure there are conversations going on behind the scene. Did I not say this the other day? I'm telling y'all gonna call me a prophet before it's all said and done. You gonna call me a prophet. Even Dak Prescott is alluding to exactly what I said. I said I'm holding out hope to July the 15th. Dak said it doesn't have to be done right now. Now, whether that gets done July the 15th, we're going to see. But in the grand scheme of things, people keep saying this is his last year. I don't believe it. I believe that there is a plan in place that George Pickens is going to be here for the long haul. Absolutely. Book it. I'm telling you, you're going to call me a prophet before it's all said and done. You're going to call me a prophet, man. You're going to call me a prophet. Larry Hunter said conversation regarding GP being handled close. Yes. Don't have it out in the court of public opinion. Ursa Major, he said the way GP has handled this goes a long way in the locker room, too. His teammates will fight for him. Ursa Major, did you just hear what Dak Prescott said? I want him to get that long-term deal. Yes, sir. Yeah, Robert Dudley, hint. I'm telling you, man, I said this the other day. There are conversations going on out there. Christian Legal, shout out to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott always helps out people wearing their merchandise. He's going to help make this hat popular too. Bass said, I firmly believe doesn't tell and pick signed that tender that the Jones were going to trade him, and I was just bracing my mind for that. He said, but I think they could sign him before the season starts like Dak. I'm telling you, Bass, I'm holding out hope. V-Ron said, like you say, GP, long-term contract, book it. I'm saying book it. Book it. Clint Harrison said, G, let us find out you one of the insiders. Give us the first information. Shoot, boy. Man, my wife be having me laughing. My wife told me, Glenn Harrison, she said, how do you get Jerry Jones to watch your show? She said he ought to hire you. Man, I'm telling you. This all seems like these are people that are in good communication with each other, and they all got an understanding, including David Mulugeta. They all got an understanding of what's going on.
Backing up Calvin's question. Has this been a quiet offseason because of that? You feel like things are quieter around here than they have been in past years?
Yeah.
It's a tough question.
It's never quiet.
Like for me,
it ain't tough.
No, it's never quiet. And I mean, you saying from like you guys or the locker room or
Yes,
what?
everything. It just seems like there's not as much ancillary stuff. Maybe.
I just think that the focus is in the right place. Yeah, I mean, it's the Cowboys, right?
Focus.
Quiet. I don't know if that's ever the right word, but the focus is in the right place. I think everybody's channeled for the same goal, to get better 1% each and every day. And I think, from just the free agent signings, the guys that we've brought in, the vets, George obviously showing up, excited to play on the tag. Yeah, we can all focus on winning and what we need to be focused on.
Is this the first time y'all have one in recent years? Because it's Zach Martin had a holdout, CeeDee Lamb had a holdout, we had Micah Holden.
That's what makes it quieter.
Yeah. I mean, that's just you guys.
We're not holding out.
But just getting to camp and not having to be asked about it incessantly and being able to have the whole team together and relatively healthy at this point to really get the install going and be ready to go for the season.
I'm still answering questions about it and nobody's.
That part right there. Even after what GP said, still getting questions about this situation. They trying to milk it for what they can, but there is no milk for them. There is no milk. There is no milk for them. There is no milk. Bass said he respects how GP is handling it. Yeah, happy feelings in the air. Dak is trying to downplay this, but as I explained to y'all before we even start listening to Dak, this is major. This is major. This isn't minor. This is major. That this team is totally focused on football. It is absolutely major. Yeah, JCT Slice said Eagle fans are hating hard on Dak now because they know if he wins, the only argument Hurts has over Dak would disappear. That's a great point. That's a great point. What's going on, Angie, my unofficial co-host? Where you been? The chat been missing you. Where you been? I know you probably been on some of them other channels. I know you got to make your rounds. Where you been? Well, we glad to have you back. We ain't gonna question you. Like when folks show up at church, I tell folks all the time, don't be questioning folks about where they been. Just be glad they back. I'm glad you back, Angie. Good to see you. Yeah, Glenn Harrison. He said, I mentioned focus in one of your earlier chats. Yeah, and Glenn Harrison, what did I put on the thumbnail? The Cowboys are laser focused. Yep. He said, let me find out the Holy Spirit been giving you this insight. Man, Marvin Mays, Clarence always looking for drama. He's just from the old school. That's all. He's just used to it. He been around it so long. Tatiana said they keep asking the same thing, expecting a different. They keep asking the same thing, expecting a different answer. You are exactly right, boy. You are exactly right. Robert Dudley said the media's yelling in the valley. There ain't nothing out there, man. It's dried up out there, man. It's dried up. Yeah. Frank Lawrence said the Chiefs crunch numbers to sign Mahomes to a $511 million contract. We have accountants and lawyers to sign Dak, CD, and Pickens. Oh, it's possible. And the reason why we know it's possible is because they're about to do it. All right, AJ, it's good to see you. I'm just teasing. It's always glad to see you in the chat. Yeah, I'm with you, them KJs. Hit that like button. Y'all make sure you hit that like button. All right, let's check out some more Dak Prescott, man. He's still answering questions.
Holding out, so.
Well, we won't ask any more if you answer this one.
Yeah, I've tried to. It's been quiet. Guys are focused on the right thing. You know, we're focused on winning. There you go.
No, I'm serious. I'm 100% serious.
That's a battle.
Yeah, Nate Thomas, Tyler Guyton. What have you seen from those two, and how important is it to get that right?
Yeah, I mean, those are two guys that both can play, and both are huge to this team. I mean, whether it's they're battling out now to be the starter or not, those are both guys that we're going to need. Both guys are going to have to play at some point or another. And so, I mean, they're pushing, they're doing a hell of a job. I mean, I love both of those guys, the way that they approach the game. Just watching Tyler get better, watching Nate get better, they're going to push each other.
You won't get a full dose of Christian Parker's defense until training camp when you guys get the pads on and start popping. But from your POV, what have you already seen from his defense, how it's coming together, and new guys like Caleb Downs as they try to become leaders?
Yeah, they're just playing. They're playing with a lot of confidence. You can just tell by the way they're communicating. Whether it's walkthroughs, whether it's out there at practice 7-on-7. Yeah, guys are taking ownership in what they're being asked. We've got great energy from not only CP but the rest of the coaches. So it'll be a battle. They've already gotten us in some of these days and OTAs, and the rush isn't even there. So once you let Quinnen and Gary and Kenny and all those guys, take off and put pressure on me, I'm sure it's going to be tougher. But it's an iron sharpens iron. Super, super excited about it. A couple of those guys have already reminded and already warned me that it won't be as easy as last year or some camps that I've had in the past. So just even that trash talking or fire starting is awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I'm glad they're doing all this talking, but at the same time, this is going to pay dividends, as I keep telling y'all, for the Dallas Cowboys. Christian Parker runs a defense that is similar to all of the teams that we can possibly see in the playoffs. He runs a similar defense. So Christian Parker is going to be able to help Dak Prescott and Brian Schottenheimer to really work out a lot of, if there are any kinks in this offense, he will be able to help them work those kinks out. Some things that didn't work last year, he'll help them to be able to make those adjustments of, okay, Christian Parker, how do we beat what you just showed us? How do we beat it? They're not competing against each other. So Christian, how do we beat that? That was great what you did. How do we beat that? Hey, this is what we saw last year. How do we beat that? This is what they did against this team this week. What did they do right here? Christian Parker is going to bring insight to this team that they've never had. This dude, I mean, you think about some of these defense coordinators we've had. They've all been old school defense coordinators. We got somebody who is in the new and in the know. It's only going to help the Dallas Cowboys. It's only going to help Dak Prescott.
We're still in off-season workouts.
We like
here.
to trash talk.
We're struggling.
Yeah.
Quick question just about CP's chirping during practice. Flo said that he's barking at y'all a little bit, talking some trash. Is that kind of nice to have, maybe that engagement as an offense to kind of,
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I naturally talk trash, right? We've talked about that, and I think, and then we like to celebrate on offense, and you can just tell from CP's reactions and mannerisms as he's a competitor. And so he's going to let you know when they get the best of the play, or he's going to let you know in 7-on-7 when he thinks that would have been a sack. And so it creates for a great environment, makes it a little edgy, but the competition is at an all-time high, and people are taking pride in what they do and the plays that they're calling.
Now, see, we tried to do this last year. Y'all do realize we tried to do this last year. Man, this defense was no competition last year. We should have known something was wrong. We were slicing this. Do y'all remember last season how CeeDee Lamb was literally killing this defense? Lamb was killing these defensive backs last year. And we were just thinking, oh, well, they're kind of hiding the defense and everything is vanilla. Yeah, vanilla, all right. It was vanilla, all right. Them boys got toe up. Them boys got exactly what they were doing to him, other teams did to him too. They did the same thing to him. I'm very interested to see this Oxnard, California defense. I want to see them truly challenge Dak Prescott and Brian Schottenheimer because it will only make us better. I want to see a true challenge, an absolute true challenge. I do. Because there was no challenge last year. And that's why I believe in some of these instances where we really needed it, we didn't get what we needed because we were not being challenged enough on a weekly basis by our defense. In actuality, we were trying to figure out what the heck to do with this defense on a weekly basis. It was terrible. Chosen One said, gee, if GP gets 1,500 yards and 10 TDs, there's no way the Cowboys will let him walk. I'm going to tell you something else. I don't think he has to get 1,500 yards or 10 TDs. I don't think the talent is what they're worried about. I believe he's going to get that contract with the Cowboys unless something falls apart. Tatiana said, yeah, gee, that was never going to work. Man, that defense last year couldn't help nobody, man. That defense couldn't help nobody last year. That thing was terrible, man. That defense was terrible. Rod Mack said this is a better defense. On paper, this defense is better. This defense is better on paper. So I'm ready to get it in Oxnard, California, because I told y'all, I'm going to tell you again, Christian Parker is not your average hire. They did not hire Christian Parker to say, yeah, man, we're going to give you like a year and, you get it together. No, he's the accelerated program. Christian Parker in this league is looked at as a prodigy. He is looked at as a prodigy. There are big expectations. Big expectations for Christian Parker. They are looking, and he's not letting people heap expectations on him. He has big expectations for himself. That's what I like about Christian Parker. Christian Parker is one of these guys that Freddie Morales talks about all the time. He's one of these people that Freddie Morales talks about all the time. Self-motivated. Christian Parker is as cool as the other side of the pillow. A dude like him expects to win because that's the way he keeps his swag going. He views himself as a winner. He's going to expect execution. The Cowboys are expecting it too. Bass said they were out there dancing and blasting music. Boy, that thing was so gimmicky last year. Chris Legal said, gee, what defense last year? They never got off the bus. Boy, that defense was terrible, boy. Boy, that defense was terrible. That defense was terrible, bro. Yeah, hey, I agree with you, JCT Slice. He said this defense needs to make Dak Prescott throw some picks in the practices. That's a good sign if you can pick off one of the best. I agree with you. Yeah. Because we already know, man, Dak Prescott, we've seen him actually. Y'all do know we've actually seen him against Christian Parker's defense. Twice against the Eagles. I mean, Dak Prescott, man, he gonna sharpen up Christian Parker's defense too. He gonna sharpen it up. Yeah, there will be blood every year. Yeah, starters should be challenged. These coaches are young and relatable, bringing a different energy. Yeah. JCT, I remember that. He said, remember when the media said Dak was already choking in training camp because of his interception? Boy, these be making stuff up, bro. Yeah, Jeremy Betts, I used to love Stuart Scott, man. Stuart Scott was the man. Absolutely. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, Tatiana. Yeah, Marshawn's girlfriend had their baby. You know, Tatiana, Tell me what you think. But I really hope the Cowboys do something. I think they said they might have something planned, but I hope they do something more for the Marshawn Kneeland situation. I just think it would be so great. It would be great if they brought out Marshawn Kneeland's fiance or ex-fiance, brought out the baby, brought them out there at one of the games and just did a whole little thing around that. I just think it would be incredible. I think that'd be great if the Cowboys did that. Dominique said if this defense could complement the offense, they'll have something serious going on. Yeah. And Dominique, you tell me what you think. But I'm telling you, Dominique, I don't think that they look at Christian Parker as the average defensive coordinator hire. No, he's the accelerated program to me. He is a prodigy. Everybody is looking at him. You heard what Kalishaw called him the other day. What do you think about being viewed as the savior? You know what? That was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but let me tell you something. Nah, there's some reality to that. There is some reality to that, too. They are looking at Christian Parker as a prodigy. This is the accelerated program. This is the accelerated program. Tatiana said, yeah, I hope they stay in touch with her and the baby. That would be special. Yeah, I do. I hope they do something. She had a boy, Glenn Harrison. She had a boy. Yeah. She had a boy. Mr. Get Dirty said they were cheap wet tissue lash. They terrible, man. They were terrible.
As the longest tenured Cowboy, old man in the room, so to speak, you kind of have a pulse of the team, so to speak, of how it's been. Are they moving different based on the Cowboys moving different? Do you have a different confidence going into this season based on some of the things you're doing, how you guys are doing in the offseason? Do you see that?
Yeah, I see it. I feel it. Actually breaking down the team yesterday, I said that, and I said if you're a young guy and don't, go get with an old guy, and they'll tell you why. So, yeah, it's just exciting. I mean, it's what we're just talking about, the CP, the energy they're bringing on defense, who we are on offense, but yet trying to elevate, not complacent with anything that we did last year. Yeah, two units are taking pride in what they do, and it's going to be a hell of a camp just competing against each other. And, yeah, you could feel it in just the culture building. I mean, credit to Shotty and all the things that we've done outside the building or just in the building to better the culture of this team and the brotherhood. So it's very exciting. Go ahead.
Let's talk to Luke Schoolmaker. He said it's a big year for him. How does he get, you said closed mouths don't get fit. How does he break into that mix if you got some?
I'm sorry, Schoolmaker. Schoolmaker, I'm sorry. It's too late, bruh. Nah. Schoolmaker, Mocker. You don't wait until Michael Trigg get in the building. It's over, bruh. Yeah, it is a big year for you. It is a big year for you. Because I got news for you, bruh. Trigg is in the building. Yeah, Angie CP said he is. Yeah, he's the accelerated program. Yeah, Mr. C, 805, he said homies in Oxnard are ready to play defense. Yeah, it's going to be great. Man, let me tell you something, Cowboy Mike. If they make 15, shoot, get ready. They make 15, get ready. There'll be no stopping us. Dominique said, I would say this, G. They went a different route this time with their search for a GM. They went young, upcoming, and CP has a great track record. Oh, yeah, you mean DC. Yeah, they did. Yes, sir. And I'm glad that Jerry Jones had an open enough mind, Dominique, to hire Christian Parker. Because while we can debate Matt Eberflus, there is no debating Christian Parker. Christian Parker is a Matt Eberflus hire. There is no debate on it. There is no debate on it. It just says CP look like Pimp C and Eberflus look like a dweeb. That should tell you. I ain't heard that word in a long time, man. He look like a dweeb. Yeah, he's got a disconnect with people too. He's got a disconnect with people. But I'm sorry, man. Schoolmaker, bruh, you waited too late, man. You waited too late. I mean, maybe this competition is going to bring some things out of you. But, bro, you'll be mere trade bait. That'll be about it because, man, I've seen Trigg. Schoolmaker not even in the same conversation. The athleticism, the hands, the speed. Hey, bruh, you waited too late. You waited too late to say, hey, you thought it's a big year. Hey, it is a big year. It is a big year because you're going to find yourself just like Tolbert did, bro.
Many other guys are kind of ahead of him as he goes into this final year of his contract.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got to show up. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I get your question, but, you know, I mean, that's up to the coaches. It's up to, you know, Lunda Wells. I can tell you.
Really?
That group.
Really? Y'all hear Dak Prescott? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You heard Dak Prescott? Yeah, that's up to the coaches.
There, and each and every one of those guys want to play. It's a fortunate position that, you know, a couple of them get to play, so, you know, 2, 3 of the guys. But he's just got to go in there and do right each and every day, right? Make sure that he's bringing the energy, catch every ball that's thrown to him, block with the physicality that he has, use his big frame, and, yeah, make sure that anytime his number's called, he's just got to step up. And the more you do that, the more opportunities you get.
You and George obviously had such a...
Yeah, you heard what he's saying? Yeah. I don't know about y'all, but I know what an endorsement sound like. I know what an endorsement sound like. And I also know what a warning sound like. Y'all tell me what that sounded like to y'all. Did that sound like an endorsement or a warning? What that sound like to y'all? What that sound like to y'all? That didn't sound like no endorsement to me. Man, when somebody start talking about, yeah, man, that's up to the coaches, man. You gotta go, you know, he just gotta go in there and do what he do with his number call. You know, that don't sound like no endorsement to me. Shoot. It's over, bro. Schoolmarker, it's over, bro. If I could tell you, man, I'd already be telling you, bro. It's over, man. It's over. Man, let me tell you something. Michael Trigg, we're going to look back on Michael Trigg, and we're going to realize that Michael Trigg is another one of these players that is a bargain. He's a bargain. To get him as a UDFA player is a bargain. Tatiana, I don't think they talked about Blue today, but from everything I'm hearing he's progressing really well. B Mix says, seems like a lot of fans want a Jim Leonard. I can't wait for them to see Jerry Jones right move at DC. Yes. Jerry Betts said he think we can be between 10 and 15 by the end of the season after they learn to actually play together and have their chemistry and symmetry within the scheme. Yeah. I'm with you, Demetrius. I'm surprised he's still allowed in the building. Boy, I'm with you. Boy, I'm with you, man. I am with you. Yeah, Angie. Hey, Schumacher, Maker, whatever. Yeah, I'm with you. Dominique says School was one of their draft picks. Jerry Stevens are going to give him every chance. Well, I think he's already at that point. This is that chance, Dominique. I think this is that chance because in actuality, he should already. I would have already let him go. Ice Wild said, y'all hit that like button because G spitting. Let's go. Angie, I'm going to tell you something. He'll be lucky if he does. He'll be lucky as he does. Angie, tell me what you think. And maybe you won't. Maybe you don't have an opinion on this because maybe you haven't seen enough of Michael Trigg. But I'm gonna tell you where I am with this Michael Trigg issue, Angie. Tell me your opinion on this. Do y'all remember how we were talking about, as Angie called Tolbert? Do y'all remember when we were actually thinking that there was a chance that Tolbert could be the second wide receiver here? And then George Pickens came in and everybody said it's over, bruh. It's over. And the Cowboys were not letting him take Ryan Flanoy's spot. I view Michael Trigg as that same type of move that now that he's in the tight end room, it's over. It's over. Schoonmaker is not the level of athlete. He's not the level of athlete, tight end. Trigg is just on a different level than Schoon. He's just on a different level. Bass said he agrees. I mean, I just think it's on a different level. If anything, Angie, you know, and I'm going to piggyback on your second part. If anything, I agree. Yeah, trade. It's going to be a trade issue. Never know. Trade issue. Maybe Dak can get him to a point to where he can be traded, but it's over. Yeah, Ron, hey, when your number called, man, hey, when somebody say when your number get called, bro, shoot, that to me is, hey, that's not an endorsement there. Yeah, he about to be out of here, country field. Shoot, he about to be out of here, shoot. It's over with. Yeah, Tatiana, we about to get to that with Dak Prescott. Shoot, hey, Dominic, I'd have been there to let him go, bro. I'd have found a way to trade him. Angie, hey, you know what I forgot, Angie? You are my trig source. You are my trig source, so I already know what you feel on this. It's over. It's over, Angie. It is over. He's just not in the category with trig. He's not in the category with trig. Trig different level.
Good start last year. Where can you guys improve?
Every ball gets completed. Every ball that I throw him gets completed. I mean, that's my standard. That's his standard. Yeah, and whether it's deep balls, short balls, whatever it may be, just taking pride and just continuing to push the envelope. I mean, he's a hell of a talent. And, yeah, so whatever.
Have you been working on your dance moves? We saw him at Tyron Smith's wedding. We've got Jake Ferguson's wedding coming up. We're going to see that on Instagram.
It depends on if somebody's, recording it. That I'm not sure is recording it.
Oh!
But, I'm always going to have a good time. No. I'm in. I think I'm walking, down. Somebody down.
A lot of guys didn't get the invite, so it's
Yeah, I'm a groomsman.
You're a groomsman.
I'm a groomsman. I don't know about weddings, man. That might work. That might work. Yeah, for sure. We got you. That's too small. That's backwards. You trying to? Oh no, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it fits nice. Fits nice. You can keep that one too.
No, they do that because it was expensive for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna get me a hat for this season, man. Yeah, I'm about to get me a hat. Y'all got some cowboy hats? Man, we got us a local cowboy place over here. I'm gonna have to go get me I'm gonna have to go get me a couple of hats for the season, man. I'm gonna rock me some cowboy hats. Give me some Tom Ford shades. Oh man, I'm gonna be big pimping when the season starts. I'm gonna be big pimping. Because I am confident that our Cowboys are about to do some amazing things. And I told you, G. McCarthy need to get... Hey, you know what? I didn't even think about that. He might get him. Tatiana, you know what? I don't know about you, but I caught what he said about he don't know nothing about weddings. I caught what he said there. I don't know if that flew over everybody's head, Tatiana. But I caught what he said there. Yeah, you caught it too, didn't you, man? You caught it bad. Yeah, I caught it. Lost in translation, said I have a cowboy hat, navy blue and gray. Yeah, I'm about to get me one. I'm going to be big pimping, man. I'm going to be big pimping, Tatiana. Be big pimping like Jay-Z. And actually, I'm going to be big pimping like Pimp C. I'm going to be big pimping.
Because it was expensive.
You gotta pay for that hat, man. She said that costs a lot of money. You gotta pay for that hat.
Yeah, Texan for sure. There you go. Great Texan.
Bouncing off that, what have you thought of the World Cup being in town and just the vibe that it's been bringing for Dallas? And
Yeah, just super excited. Yeah, super excited for the city. I mean, all the cities hosting, obviously. Getting the fans coming in from all these different countries, getting to feel how much they care, their passion for their sport. Right, to me, it's like go watch some of that and bring it into our sport.
Yeah, I caught it, Tatiana.
They don't sit down. They're loud. They're cheering the whole time. It's amazing. Like, they're truly a part of the environment of the field. I can guarantee you those players feel it. Those players thrive off of it. They're super excited, right, when they're filling stands and the orange or whatever, right, making it feel just like if they were in their hometown or their home countries. I think it's awesome, and obviously it's great for the city. But I'm super pumped, and I'll have to get to a game.
Jack, it's been 2 years since y'all made the playoffs. Does it feel like 20